Today on Doomed, we are back here on Doomed with Matt Binder. I am back from my trip to Las Vegas, where I was there live at CES 2024, and we're gonna do our annual CES episode where we break down what we saw, well, what I saw, and my guest, what we saw, yes, that's accurate to say we, what we saw at the biggest annual tech conference, the good, the bad, the ugly, and what you should all be aware of in the coming future in terms of our tech hellscape. And speaking of hellscapes, I also happened to come home on the day of the Iowa caucus, so we'll obviously talk about everything regarding the current state of the Republican primary, but let's jump right into it. Let me pull myself and my guest up on the screen, and joining me now to discuss all of this is journalist Eoin Higgins. Eoin, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Sorry about that.
There we go.
No, I muted myself by accident there.
Perfect way to start the show. Just
That's how you can tell that I'm totally on it when it comes to tech.
Right. Yes, we are obviously
Moments like that.
Obviously going to have a tech issue free show. There'll be no audio problems, no video problems. Everything will go smoothly because we're tech know-it-alls because obviously we went to cover CES.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So, Eoin, you joined me last year on this episode to talk. I ran into you last year, met you for the first time in person after following you on what was then known as Twitter for quite a while, and we knew to look out for each other this year, and we knew what spots to hit because you had seen things previously, I had seen things previously. And it was a much smoother personal experience for me based on, knowing how CES goes. But I don't think people are tuning in for our very specific, how our personal CES went. People want to know what happened at CES this year like last year. And I don't know about you. But for me, I thought that CES this year was, and this isn't the personal experience, this is based on what was there at the show, what the overarching themes of the show were, what companies were there. I thought it was a much better show this year in terms of showing actual things that could be helpful to people and not like the dystopian nightmare of what the get-rich-quick people and the techno-libertarians hope that tech becomes in terms of taking over our world. And that may sound weird to people who are hearing AI all over right now. But CES was sort of devoid of AI. Obviously was there and it had a number of showings, but it was sort of devoid of that like last year, for example, where Web3 and metaverse and blockchain were all over the place and in your face, and every company there wanted to be in one or multiple categories, and everyone claimed to be a Web3 company or a metaverse company, and it was just ridiculous. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think we discussed the metaverse aspect of it, where so just so everyone knows, so last year metaverse kind of crashed maybe a month or so before the show, but everyone's plan for the show started months in advance, so people weren't able to kind of reset what they were trying to do with their displays and with their their plan, how they were going to kind of put this stuff together, their boosts, their pitch to investors. So when we got there, a lot of the stuff that we saw was this kind of VR, metaverse. I guess there's some blockchain too. I think it depends on what you were looking at. I think I wasn't quite maybe looking at that stuff quite so much, but
It was so
But
weird to me how like companies that could have just said like, oh, they were doing virtual reality stuff or they were creating like a Minecraft or Fortnite type world, they all had to go like, no, this is the metaverse. And it's like,
right,
what are you
right.
doing shoehorning your like what could possibly be a genuinely good product in a completely different product category? Why are you trying to shoehorn it into this unproven product category that's become a joke over the past year?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, well, I mean, in that case, it was like it become a joke like in the last month, like last month, month and a half, right? So it was like we were definitely like watching that stuff, uh, just kind of wondering, like how this is going to work. This year, I did see a lot of AI, but I saw like practical applications of it. For the most part, there was a lot of IoT, that's Internet of Things. It's like physical tech products that are connected to the internet, connected to your home. There are like dystopian and problematic things to do with that, but the way that AI and the tech was being deployed was, ostensibly for things that are positive. Like, I mean, to give you an example, or to give listeners or viewers an example would be, I saw a lot of like disability friendly tech at this show where I didn't see that last show. I saw stuff that was, designed to help people with mobility issues who can still walk a little bit to like walk a little bit more. I saw stuff to help people whose disabilities mean that they have a very hard time, if at all, being able to move around, to leave the house, to kind of care for their house, these kind of automated machines. Now, a lot of this stuff is prototypes or just kind of in the early like beta stages. But I did see a lot of that, and that was kind of emphasized to me by a couple of people that I talked to, that this was like what they were trying to do, that they like that this was one of the reasons that they were like that. I think one guy that I was talking to described it as, this is a small market, but it's a market that, like, that they want to take care of, and the reason that they would do is because, I mean, it all other things being equal, it is kind of self-serving, right? It's like if you get this market, like you have it, right? So,
Right.
but nonetheless, like I did see, like I saw this stuff that were like actual practical applications of technology that are actually helpful to people, as opposed to, like we were saying, this kind of metaverse, virtual reality, something that's not real, that's really just being used to line the pockets of the people who are promoting these products. I mean, like I think another thing that I noticed last year, I mean, this is every year I think, but last year especially, like because you are using these product displays to try and get investment, to try and get people to give you money for your startup or for your company. So we had a lot of that obviously this year as well, but like last year, because it was metaverse and because it was just such obvious bullshit, honestly, like there's really no other way to say it,
Right.
because it was obvious bullshit, it was just really like very clear, right, when you were looking at it, that okay, this is like not something that's like a positive. While this year, like at least, a lot of the products that were there were things that were, like they would have some kind of real world application, have some like, tangible benefit to the people who were using them.
Right. I think the unfortunate thing, and this isn't the case with like Web3 and crypto and blockchain and metaverse, where like none of those like platforms that claim to be that showed any real utility. They were all pointless for the purpose of enriching the people behind them. AI actually does have genuine use cases. I mean, people might not even real, and I hate that they even call it AI, because people think of AI as like, machines that can actually think and feel and have, a conscience maybe, or self awareness, because that's what AI has meant over the years in science fiction and Hollywood. But like basically AI as a genuine application in the real world is like, for example, a lot of companies were showing off the ability to, in real time, translate. For example, if you're speaking to someone who speaks a different language than you, if you're speaking to a Spanish speaker, a Chinese speaker, a Japanese speaker, whomever, you could get real time translations, whether it be through like your phone, through with this app, or a specific standalone device, whether it be audio, or I even tried out I tried out two different AR glasses, one by incubated by TCL, where basically you would see like captions under the person as they were speaking to you in another language, and the caption would be in English for you, so you could carry on a conversation. Like, that stuff seems genuinely useful and helpful for a number of reasons, and like you mentioned, it could be good for accessibility issues as well. And over the past like year or two, with the sort of explosion of Chat GPT, people think of AI as like trying to replicate writers or artists and stealing their work and using it to basically, vomit out good looking gibberish in terms of like the sentence structure and paragraphs and English words used make sense, but the facts are complete like, grabbed out of, thin air. People think of that type of stuff, and I think it sort of has sullied the reputation, I guess, of like what good useful AI could be. And now, even when I think of AI, that's what I think of. I think of the garbage, which is unfortunate because, like, AI could be as simple as, like, I don't know, like, say you had one of those, like, robot vacuums. The fact that, like, the vacuum could tell when there's a stain or, like, when something fell to the floor. That's technically what you would consider, like, real world AI, that the machine can tell that. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been covering AI pretty much all year, and especially like the last like 6 months. And one thing that I've really noticed is that uh, people who are using it for something real are the people who are describing it as a practical application of like practical application of a tool, right? The people who are trying to do some kind of a scam are describing it as like the newest. I mean, like they use all kinds of different like descriptors. I think
Oh,
Elon
like,
Musk's like a good
Eli,
example, right?
yeah.
Yeah, like so this is just like a chat GPT, a complete chat GPT ripoff. I think that it was such a ripoff that it was actually like spitting out chat GPT like that like speaking for itself as chat GPT or something like that. Like it's just like a complete ripoff of what that is. But ultimately, like, what does chat GPT do? It doesn't really do much. It's more of like a showcase for like what generative AI can do. It's a way of kind of like developing the technology further, right? But if you have one chat GPT, I don't know like how many you really need of that kind of a thing. Like this is like a chatbot that's just like talking back to you. The way that it is being deployed by companies, like Automation Anywhere. This is a company. I went to their thing in Texas in September. Um, they work with like more like software AI bots, where they like the AI bot kind of goes in through the software and like helps you code it. GitHub has like a thing called Copilot now, which is like it's generative AI, so it helps you to like code and to build out these different programs. And what these tools are doing is they're saving time. They're making it so uh, things move forward a little bit quicker. Like you can do
Right.
more work
Right.
in
Like, it
less
helps
time.
automate. Like, I've noticed this too. Like, the best like AI tools help actual professionals sort of automate the more repetitive tasks that, like, even like sort of would be like is wasting their time. Like, their time is better spent somewhere else, but they are still there doing the work with the AI chatbot, like just helping automate those repetitive sort of processes.
Right. What they're doing is that yeah they're taking the processes that are like super time consuming. I think it was described to me by these GitHub guys as I think it was like one of their developers described it as kind of like if you're developing software right now, or like before you utilize these tools, you're like starting here, you have to build up all this stuff and then, build from here. And then all this does is it just kind of like makes it so you start here, right? So all this stuff is already done, then you just build from there. And I think that if you look at AI that way and you look at its benefits that way, I think that it becomes pretty clear like what this tool is being used for. I mean, it's being used to automate other processes too. Like it's not just software. Obviously, it's being used to like we were talking about, like IoT stuff, like a vacuum cleaner that can like using AI detection software so that it doesn't need to go through like maybe instead of going through like 5 different iterations of what it needs to do to in order to deal with that, it only has to go through 2 and it's internal. This stuff is pretty simple, and I think that it's a pretty positive use of the tech. I think anyone who's promising you that like their AI is going to be able to help you to do some kind of like crazy thing that like nobody else is promising you, or even this is getting off of CES a little bit, but like the way that a lot of these tech guys have talked about it, like Andreessen and Musk and like their crowd talking about like, oh, this stuff could end the world. It's so dangerous because it's so powerful. Like that's just straight up a marketing gimmick, a straight up marketing gimmick. They want you to think it's that strong, so that you're like, well, I'm really glad that like these companies have it under control and that they're dealing with it. Like, no, that's not really what it is. It's not really that powerful, at least not yet. And this kind of like freak out about it. There was a big article in the New York Times last month about how all of these guys kind of came to this conclusion. And part of it, I think, is marketing. I think part of it is stupidity, and probably like about 50-50. But like they really like, they do think that this stuff can have that kind of an effect, but they also are obviously using that fear in order to promote their own products and to promote their own businesses. But yeah, I think anyone who's saying that kind of stuff, don't buy that.
Absolutely. I mean, you brought up Elon Musk, and I thought you were going to go that direction to begin with, but I think you brought up the Grok thing that he, like, it's like his version of Chat GPT, which is actually really bad. His Grok is not good. It's like the whole like selling point is that it's snarky in its like tonal writing style, which is lame as hell. Like, what are you, 13? That you need that? But it is amazing how like, the timeline of him coming out with his own AI sort of chatbot was like, oh, OpenAI is too strong. They're too powerful. They have this technology. I hear through the grapevine that it's becoming self-aware, and AGI is right over the hill right there. It's almost there, and then the machines are going to take over. We need to pause all AI training models and everything. Oh my God. By the way, check out my new AI startup called XAI. I mean, it was very clear what he was doing. It was total bullshit, his whole warning about AI. Because he just wanted in. He just wanted in. Or maybe he's a little bit, I could actually picture him being somewhere in the middle, where he could, because like you said, it's either a marketing gimmick or people aren't that bright, and I could certainly picture both angles for Musk.
I think it is. I think it is both. I think it is both. I think he's dumb enough to believe that it's dangerous, but he's like, he has a canny intelligence to understand that he can make money off of it, and so that's like what he's trying to do as well. But I will say though, to like just to go back to CES a little bit, though, like I really expected to see like a lot more of that kind of stuff on the floor, and I didn't really see like quite that much of it. I like it wasn't like as in your face as I was expecting.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I guess the thing I saw closest to that, and I think myself and my coworkers who went, we all sort of thought this was possibly the worst thing we saw, and even the worst thing we saw this year wasn't anywhere near like the 10th worst thing we saw last year. But hands down, one of the worst things we saw this year was from this company called WeHead, where they had like a fake chatbot face on like 4 different like phone devices that was shaped like a head. Do you remember this?
Yes.
and you
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
stand.
Yeah.
You would
Epsilon, right? Yeah.
yes, and you would stand in front of it, and it would tell you to talk to it as if you were talking to Chat GPT or someone in real life. Just like ask it a question or ask a command, and it will respond to you. And I simply asked, "Oh, okay, talk to it like a friend or something." So I said, uh, "Hey, how's the weather?" And it responded to me with the fake human face. It was like, as an AI model, I cannot tell you real time information. And I'm like, oh, okay, fine. So I'll just go with something very natural. Like you could even ask any, most, current chat bots this question, and they'll just make something up. How you feeling today? And then it responded as an AI model. I have no feelings. And it's like, oh my God, just regurgitate something, man. Like, it was just so
Yeah.
lame. but even
Those
beyond
things.
that, but even beyond that, the idea that you would talk to an AI chatbot like a person is ludicrous. The idea you would treat any of this as if you're talking to, a person or even an animal is ludicrous because it's not retaining any information you ask it in terms of like, because it can't think. That's the number one thing. People actually really do think because the way this is sold to them and what they believe AI is through, like I mentioned before, movies and sci-fi, they think they're talking to a thinking machine, and that's just not the case. It's not even close.
Yeah. I definitely saw that. I didn't talk to her or anything. I was just very like entranced by how weird it was. But I didn't realize you could speak to it. I didn't really realize what it was. It was very strange. So just so everyone knows, it was like one screen here and two screens here and one screen here.
Right. Like
Um,
imagine, let me take my phone so people could see if you're watching on YouTube.
yeah,
Imagine like um okay, imagine the phone here, but you see my eyeballs instead of the screen. A phone here to see like the side of my head, a phone here to see the side of my head, and another phone here to see my nose and mouth move. And it was like all these separate devices like taped together to look like a very polygonal human shaped head, I guess.
right. But then what they would have is they would have like they had a face like projected onto it, like a video of a face
Yes.
projected onto it. So yeah, it was just very unsettling and weird and just off-putting. Um, Although like and it was interesting too that like it was almost like they were trying to do too much and then just completely failing and doing anything, which is interesting because like a couple of like a couple of steps down there was this rolling robot like the French thing that you were talking to. Remember that
Oh,
like
the,
that
the,
like
the one that
little
looked like a
box
furry?
thing? Yeah.
There was a
And
furry
that was like
robot
a
at CES, folks. A
yeah.
furry robot.
And that thing was like but that thing wasn't all it was doing was just reacting to seeing your face.
right.
Um it was also unsettling, but not quite in the same way.
Yes. Like that was like I would say that was probably one of the trends at CES this year, like robots, like robotics, like home robots or like medical robots, restaurant serving like coffee making or tea, like bubble tea making robots. That was a big thing. And like watching it, it's so clear that you can laugh at anyone who says like the machines are coming to do your service job because it's nowhere close. These things could barely do anything. That robot that you were just talking about, Owen, the furry robot, they were like sort of promoting it as like for medical purpose usage. And it was like like the way it moved around was I guess pretty cool, like on like a moving like a ball sort of like a rolling ball, but like it could look at your face and like look into your eyes and like wave to you, but that was it. Like I think it could like carry things for you, but that wasn't automatic. You had to actually like program it, or they had to like remote control it, I believe. Um, all the other robots, sort of the same thing. Like they could do some cool like pre-programmed applications, but none of them that were ready for like the show floor were like taking over your job.
No, no, there were a couple of like rolling like delivery things that also just weren't quite where they were at. I did want to just talk about the most dystopian thing that I saw.
Oh, what was that?
All right, so this was in the Venetian Expo, which was kind of like the more like startup area. So for those of you who uh, haven't been there, so there's the Las Vegas Convention Center is like the main floor, like that's like a massive building. And there's another expo at this casino called the Venetian, and in there they have kind of more like startup-y kind of stuff, and they have like like sometimes countries have like their own separate areas.
Right.
Like France has a huge one.
I missed that
And
building this year. I regret it because that's usually one that's really interesting. I think people need to. If you've never been to
yeah,
CES, it's friggin' ridiculous. Like how big it is.
yeah,
Like 10 different sections across like 3 or 4 different buildings. Unless you're running around all 4 days to make sure you hit all the floors or whatever without like waiting on any lines to check anything out, you're not seeing even close to 20% of everything.
yeah. I would say yeah, and also like it's just I mean it takes forever to get anywhere because the traffic is so bad, and like um, we're not really selling it as particularly fun. And honestly, it is kind of hell in
Yeah.
in a way.
I mean,
So
I
this
will say
was
you brought
yeah.
up the
Go ahead.
traffic. Not to interrupt you. You know, I'll get back to this because this deserves its own subsection.
Okay.
I rode the Vegas loop, the Tesla loop for the first time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Talk
we'll talk
about
about that in a
exciting.
minute. Go ahead. I want to hear the most
Uh,
dystopian thing you saw.
okay, so I'd been pitched this already to check it out, so I was happy that I got to see it. I didn't really want to talk to them, and they talked to me about it a little bit, but this is a wearable personal safety device. Never be attacked from behind. And what it is, it's like a little camera that goes on your back, so that when you're running, if someone comes up behind you and they're within 20 feet of you, it sends an alert to your phone, and then you can see if it's someone. And then if you feel that you're threatened, you can call 911,
Ah,
and it records the entire interaction. I
so
mean,
like,
just the way
and
this
it's
could
set
go
up
wrong.
like behind you, like it's like eyes behind your head.
Yeah, so like when you're running and you have actually I have one of these right here. You have like one of these, right?
Yes,
This
yes.
goes over,
The
right?
so
So
cars
this
at
is
night can
it
see
goes
you with their lights. Yeah.
right. So this goes on your back, right? So this is like a little try and find like something to approximate it. Like a little camera that goes like right there, right?
Right.
So it's just on all the time, recording and sending its information to this company, and also communicating with police, um, because like they're like it's streaming the entire time onto your phone. Um, and it's just like the way that it's presented is just like like it's not only like the fact that there's like privacy issues and stuff. It's to me the idea that we need to feel always 100% under threat at all times is just not. I don't feel like it's a very healthy way to exist.
Right. I saw something like that too at one of those night events where they have. I think it was the first one unveiled.
Yeah,
It was like a body camera, like a tiny little body camera that you like pin onto your front of your shirt. And I thought like, oh, this is something being marketed to like reality streamers. Like that's a really big thing right now. Reality show. It's been a big thing for a while, but I feel like it's getting like a new life again. I see a lot of big Twitch streamers doing that where they just like go out and stream themselves visiting stores and eating and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, it must be geared towards that. But no, it was like a device that like taped your interactions with people and would automatically contact the police if you were threatened. I was like, oh, I would have preferred if this was a device for creators.
yeah. I wonder if it was the same one. But yeah, so that was the most dystopian weird thing that I saw. But what? Yeah, the Vegas loop. I mean, that must have been really. That was Elon Musk. I hear he's the world's greatest innovator, right? And he made the Vegas loop, so that must have been very fast and efficient, and must have been
Oh,
really
right.
really cool, right?
Right. Oh boy. All right. So you're right. I went on the Vegas loop for the first time. I missed it last year. I was very disappointed. But I went on this year. Um,
Can I just say?
I
Can I just say before you start that everybody was trying to sell me on this, telling me that I should go on this. Like, oh, just take the loop. It's quicker. Just take the loop. It's easier instead of like walking. I was like, I don't really
Right.
like that.
Okay. All right.
You know,
So here's what I think. All right. First of all, I don't think people know exactly what it is. Like it's a thing that's always in Vegas. It's part of the convention center, the Las Vegas convention. It's not there just for CES, but people use it during CES. The whole purpose is the convention center is big, like we said. Where the CES takes a place up in multiple buildings in multiple venues, but the Las Vegas Convention Center itself has like multiple buildings and wings and stuff. So the loop takes you to, I think, 3 different wings, maybe 4, and it also uh, takes you to the nearest hotel. And so that's the entirety of the loop. It's 4 or 5 stops, with 3 or 4 of them being the different parts of the convention center, and one of them being that like hotel closest to the convention center. So I guess if you wanted to, you could take Vegas has a monorail that hits up a bunch of hotels. I guess you could take the monorail from your hotel to that hotel closest to the convention center, and then take the loop to the convention center. Now, I didn't go to the hotel. I went to 1 or 2 stops. I think I went 2 stops on the loop. No, it was 1 stop on the loop to go from the north to the west side. For that very small area, it was fine. Like, I don't know if it would have been faster another way. I don't know if it, like, certainly, I don't know if it'd be faster if you walked. I mean, you didn't have to walk, so it wasn't as tiring. But the loop is this. You basically go down this escalator. And there are, well, this is if you're taking it from the main hall, the convention hall. So you go down this escalator and you go into like this like station. It's got all these like neon lights. It says like "Welcome to Las Vegas" or whatever. And there's like little like areas for each Tesla to pull into so they could load up with people. And so there's Tesla cars pulling into this little section. You go in, it pulls out, and it goes into a single lane tunnel with like RGB neon like gamer lights in the tunnel, go like changing colors. And you go for a little bit and you come out into another station where they pull into this little spot. The car has a driver. It is not even automated. Each car has a driver. A total of, I think, 4 passengers could fit in each car. These are regular sized Teslas. We had asked the driver of one of the cars we were in how many Teslas are part of the loop, and he said like 90 something. I think it was 91 or 92. And we asked him how fast could the Teslas go in the loop. And he said technically they could go up to 40 miles per hour, but they were told to not go above 30. It's not very fast. It's not, it doesn't seem very efficient. I mean, again, for a very small use case for like what the convention center uses it for, to get you from the different wings of the convention center, it's neither here nor there. Like, I guess maybe it was faster to just build a road for cars than like a monorail or subway system. Again, just for getting you around into the same large building structure. Never would this ever work beyond that as like a public transportation method to get you to like different parts of a large location, like a city or even a town. It's like it's a gimmick for a convention center. It's a gimmick for a theme park. It is not meant to be actual public transportation.
Yeah, I'd say theme park is like a good way to describe Vegas in general. Anyway, like the strip, like yeah, like there are like things that are there that exist because of the environment that would never work anywhere else. This seems like just another one.
Right. And I would love to know what happens if a car breaks down in the tunnel. These are numerous tunnels, because numerous tunnels as in getting you to each station. But there's only like, I think, 1 tunnel going one way. Like it's a loop. So what happens if a car gets stuck in one of the tunnels? Could they just not service anyone going that direction?
I mean, I don't even know. I think that sounds like something that would require way more thought than Elon has probably ever given it. I'm being
Yeah.
honest, like,
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, the thing that the reaction I got from most people actually when I posted pictures of my experience in the loop, it was actually, oh, I thought that thing shut down because people heard that company Hyperloop that wanted to do the same thing in California, they shut down, and they I guess conflated that with Musk's loop by his Boring Company in Vegas. Like, yes, both things were created in an attempt to shut down high speed rail in California. But Vegas went ahead with Musk because they believed his ludicrous idea.
bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah. And they built it there at the convention center. I don't think there is any current like work being done to build another one of these things anywhere. It was a total gimmick for the Vegas Convention Center. And, it's again, like I said, it's neither here nor there. I'm trying to be fair here because, like, for the convention center purpose, it did its duty. Would something else have worked just as good, if not better? Maybe. But I also can't see the loop working outside of, like, take me to the west side of this building from the east side of the same building.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. 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 Um, it it's interesting that you bring up high speed rail. My last driver on the way to the airport on my way out was saying that they are going to build high speed rail from Vegas to LA, at least. Like he said that is like going to happen. I don't know like the details of it. Um, but he said that they're going to do that, and also that they're going to. And this was kind of like a
Yeah.
disturbing thing to hear, but he was like, they're going to build 9 more casinos on the south side. They're going to just
Jeez.
keep going. Yeah, he's like eventually like he's like the master plan is like to have casinos like all the way to the California border. I was
You
like,
know,
oh, what's that like? I was like,
that
what's that like 2 miles? He was like, no, that's 30 miles. I was like, oh,
that's really funny because I was talking to one of the Uber drivers, and I was saying, like, the weird thing about the strip is, like, eh, there's like so many, like, you see these big giant casinos, but then there's like a little like mom and pop like tourist shop in the middle of them, like a one floor mom and pop shop. It's like amazing because you don't see that in like New York anymore. Everything's been so overdeveloped. So it's crazy to see like a big city like Vegas like have this on like the main road. And he's like, "Oh, they're gonna keep knocking those things down and building more and more casinos." And he showed me like where they were developing new casinos. And he's like, "The crazy thing is, none of the current casinos are even making any money. Like their margin of profit is so small, if even existent, that like the fact that they keep building these things is like ludicrous." And I was like, "Really? Is that the case?" I was assuming these casinos were cleaning up with the amount of money they extract from people.
I don't know. There weren't a whole bunch of people in them though. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
that is
guess
true. I mean, I
yeah.
just walked through. I didn't gamble all there because I was too busy. But you do have to walk through the casinos in some of these, at some of the different hotel convention centers to get to like where the specific event is. And you're right. I guess I didn't see that many people gambling.
Bellagio was the only one that I saw that was bumping. That one was bumping pretty well, but like the rest of them were not really like they weren't really going. I don't know. I mean, maybe it was the time of year. I mean, maybe during Christmas and New Year's it's crazy. I don't know, but
It was the coldest I've ever. I knew Vegas could get cold, so I dressed for the weather. But it was like the same as it was in New York. There was no difference. Like I was
yeah, it
shocked
was
that it
it
wasn't
was
even a
real
little
cold.
bit. Yeah, it wasn't even a little bit nicer. I mean, again, speaking to Uber drivers there, they were like, um, "Oh, this is like the 1 or 2 weeks each year where it's if we have winter, but that's the week I was there for."
Yeah, I went there in June last year for a different event, and it was like 98 degrees every day, but it was like dry heat. So compared to us on the East Coast, it felt like fine.
Yeah, yeah. Let's go back to some more things at CES. Oh wait, wow,
Yeah,
we just had a whole conversation about CES and didn't even get to the Iowa caucus. Let's talk about one or two
yeah,
more things, and then quickly, if you have like maybe 5 or 10 minutes, talk about the Iowa caucus.
sure.
All right, cool. So
Yeah,
yeah, I guess other than like the AI stuff we talked about, like the big stuff at CES this year again was like sort of like what the old like big tech products were in like years before everything was horrible in the world. You know, like televisions and
mhm,
monitors and cool stuff like that. Like there was the transparent display from TCL and from Samsung, where like again, it's just like cool stuff. Will you buy it? Probably not. Will it be available for consumers to even purchase in the near future? Probably not. Was it cool to see? And as far as I know, completely harmless? Yeah. Yeah. That's
yeah,
what I want. That's what I want from these tech shows. Completely cool and harmless tech.
yeah. I mean, it kind of like you're looking at stuff like that's like, okay, this is really cool. It's probably not even available yet. As far as like anyone who I know being able to purchase it, that's probably still like another like 5 or 10 years down the road. But yeah, like there was like a lot of cool. There was a lot of really cool electronic vehicle stuff. Um,
Oh,
it's
the
really,
Kia.
yeah,
I am not a car person. In fact, I
yeah,
talked my way out of covering the Kia press conference. But then I on the show floor I saw what Kia announced and I was like, oh, I would have actually thought this was cool. Like
yeah.
it wasn't like a crazy stupid Tesla bullshit with there's a mode where you press a button and your car goes from 0 to 60 in like 60 seconds, or the doorknob is flush against like inside the door and you press the button and it pops out, and we're putting a huge display in the front and you can play PlayStation 5 games on your display while you're driving and crash and kill somebody. No stupid bullshit like that. It was a fucking really cool looking Kia car where the design reminded me of like the old like VW Vanagon, like the hippie van,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. It did look like a VW
like
van.
the
Yeah,
the cool like I hate how modern cars look like. So to see like a cool designed car was great. And everything in the car is swappable. Like you could pull take the seats out and put different seats in. You could spin the seats around so you could talk to people like face to face. You could like
you can turn
swap
into
out
a pickup truck.
you could turn it into a pickup truck. You could swap out different components on the dashboard. Um, I thought that was genuinely cool, and I could see useful applications like, you had a kid and you needed to your pickup truck for work needs to be a minivan. You don't have to buy a new car, and you could still do your work with the pickup truck if you need to. Like that's genuinely cool, and I don't get excited about car stuff ever, and I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I thought those were really cool. I also, I mean, I'm more into cars, I guess. I really love like all the vehicles. One thing I think is really cool about these new semi trucks, these EV semi trucks. These are still prototypes because like the amount of like battery power that they need to like run them is like they don't. Basically, like the battery that they would need to run them is just like too big and too heavy to really make it like really make sense yet. But when they do have them, what they're going to be is they're going to lose like 8 feet in the front because they're not going to have that huge engine anymore, and it's just going to be sheer. It's going to cut down like that much space, um, which I think is cool. I think that's good. I mean, first of all, like they can see, the drivers can see better. I mean, I don't know if like you've seen like even just pickup trucks now. Like if a kid is walking in front of them, they're not going to see him. If someone small is walking in front of them, it's not going to see him. These huge semi trucks now will just have nothing in front of them. They'll be able to see. They take up less space. Eventually, what's going to happen is like once we finally have like some form of autonomous cars, like that's going to be, I bet, the first thing to go. Trucking is they're just going to turn trucking into completely autonomous and just have like in Logan, movie Logan. They have those in Logan. Like they have like the trucks with nobody driving them on the highway. That is like stuck with me. Yeah,
right.
it's just the freight on the wheels just moving back and forth.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
People in the chat are currently owning me because apparently I didn't realize I said this, 0 to 60 in 60 seconds. Yikes, you really aren't a car person, Matt. Did I say that? I guess I meant to say like 0 to 60 in like, what's 5 seconds? What's a crazy time to go from 0 to 60? I don't know.
I'm not going to let them own me. I'm not going to say it.
But that's what Tesla, at least when I went into someone's Tesla years ago for the first time, that was like one of like the features. You press a button and it goes from like 0 to 60 and like, and I remember I remember thinking like, this is a very specific feature that seems very illegal because most people are going to use this on residential streets because that's where most people who own these cars live. This seems like it should be against the law to specifically build this feature in your car.
Yeah, I mean, 0 to 60 is kind of like I think a kind of a standard established way of describing how fast your car can go. So that's probably why he put it in there. But yeah, I mean, however he does it, it's going to be fucked up. He's going to blow it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. All right, so Owen, it was great to see you at CES, and it was great to talk about CES. So let's, we have a little bit more time here. I wish honestly, I wish there was more disappointment and horribleness at CES like there was last year, because we would have more CES to talk about on this show.
Yeah, they're really, like guys, what you got to understand is that there really weren't a lot of like horrible things, and there weren't a lot of weird things to report on. It was just like cool looking tech, and like one of the main things that I expected when I was going in there, I was like, well, I'm definitely gonna be able to just like write about and also make fun of like how many of these companies are just like shoehorning AI into everything that they're doing. But it wasn't even that. Like people weren't. I mean, I kind of hope that next year, if I go again, that it's more entertaining in that way. That they're more like horrible in that way.
Right. Like I look forward, after my experience last year, I look forward to going to CES and being a hater. And the companies I would have probably loved to have hated didn't show up this year. It was just companies for the most part. I had a few hater opportunities, some of which we talked about on this show, but otherwise, not many opportunities for the haters this year.
No Palantir. Palantir wasn't there.
They weren't, which I was shocked about. Right.
I was looking for them. I was searching for them, but I couldn't find them.
Wait, we didn't. I didn't talk about this though. Twitter was there.
Really?
Doing private meetings, but then Linda Yaccarino, the CEO of Twitter X, she was doing a panel that was like a CES offshoot, like a brand marketing company was doing their own like CES like related thing that wasn't really technically related to CES. And I had applied to get an RSVP, like to be invited, and they never got back to me. I wonder why that is. I got to assume.
I wonder why. But specifically, yeah.
Right, yeah. But then I found out that she just announced what they announced on Twitter at the same time, like via the official Twitter like thing, and like the announcements were things like Don Lemon and Tulsi Gabbard were getting their own partnered video show on X. Like those were the big announcements they saved up for CES. Tulsi Gabbard and Don Lemon. I think Jim Rome doing a sports show too.
Yeah.
They signed deals with those three to do video shows exclusively on X.
I think they got a couple others, but those are like the big ones. Yeah.
That's like not a big deal at all. Like no one cares about those three people.
No.
It sort of shows what sort of like the kind of bubble they are in, where they felt like they needed to announce, especially like Tulsi Gabbard, who has no name value outside of the very like politically brained people. She like at least like Don Lemon and Jim Rome have like some sort of like in certain markets like mainstream name factor. Tulsi Gabbard does not have that whatsoever. Yet they still felt like they needed to announce that they signed her to a deal.
It's because they're just as online as the people who use their product.
Right. Right. No, now speaking of the political online mindset, um, I returned home because I went to I didn't go home right after CES. I went to Austin, Texas, which I'll talk about in the second half of the show with you viewers. But I got home in New York on the day of the Iowa caucus, and I didn't really pay that much attention to it because it's not an exciting Republican primary this year because we know what's going to happen. It's not competitive whatsoever. Donald Trump's clearly running away with it. But, I did pay attention to the Iowa caucus aftermath. And, it was interesting to see some of the things that came out of it. Vivek Ramaswamy dropped out. Big shock there. He did not fare well in Iowa whatsoever. Even after Elon Musk said he was going to surprise, or Vivek was going to surprise everyone come Monday. Nikki Haley came in third, and like by a hair, Ron DeSantis came in second. And then in the largest shellacking in Iowa caucus history, Trump bested DeSantis by 30 points. I believe the previous record, the previous like disparity between first and second was something between like 12 and 13 points.
It was Bush against McCain.
Oh, okay.
2000, yeah.
And so that was 12, 13 points, somewhere between there. Trump, 30 points more than DeSantis. I mean, and you know what? I've seen a lot of people in the mainstream specifically use this talking point that like, oh, only 100,000 people showed up to the Iowa caucus. That's just sad. Trump got 50% or 53 or 54% of 100,000 people. That's ridiculous. That's not a big deal. That makes him look bad. That's just a stupid way to look at this. I'm sorry. What you would do is extrapolate that and think, oh, if Trump won that many people, then if 200,000, 300,000, 400,000, 500,000, a million people showed up, he would get somewhere around that same percentage too, give or take a few, points plus or minus.
Yeah. I saw a lot of cope about this, honestly, coming from people like I think it was David K. Johnson. This is like one of these liberal reporters who goes on Rachel Maddow all the time, and he said, actually, this is really bad for Trump because this means that 51% means 49% voted for a candidate other than Trump, and it's like, well, first of all, it's a historic showing. It's an outright majority, and he was running against three candidates. I guess technically five, but really only three others. I just don't understand that at all. I think that's just like that is cope. Like you are really dreaming if you think that doesn't matter. This was. I mean, we all knew Trump was going to win anyway, but I think this makes it clear that like Nikki Haley is almost. I heard that one of the reasons that DeSantis came in second was strategic voting by Trump supporters who voted for DeSantis once Trump had nailed it. The reason that they did that is because the worse she does in Iowa, the less chance she has to pull some kind of a crazy upset in New Hampshire, right, against Trump. And this way, so now that she's third, now DeSantis is second. And now DeSantis focuses on like the states that come after New Hampshire and South Carolina. She focuses on New Hampshire and South Carolina, but she's coming in with like third place finish. Trump just stomps her in both of those states. She's done. Here's the thing, and this is the way that I felt in 2016 too. Trump is a monster. He's definitely like the second or third worst president of my lifetime. W. Bush and Reagan is arguable, but those 4 years were pretty shitty, especially on the immigration front, as well as all kinds of other things. But however, like the one joy that I did get out of him in 2016, the one joy that I am getting out of him now is watching him destroy the careers of these just like horrible slime people like Nikki Haley, like Ron DeSantis, like Jeb Bush last time, like Ted Cruz, just like ending their presidential aspirations, humiliating them on the national stage. At least that's one thing that we can look at and be like, at least we get to have that again. Because that is like in my opinion, that's like an unassailable good. Like these people are evil, just straight up evil. Trump is too, but like just because he's evil and just because we're aware of like what 4 years of him being president looks like doesn't mean that these people are any better. And it's been a pleasure to watch that happen.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, DeSantis especially, who was held up as the future golden boy of the GOP, that he was going to be the guy. He was the serious Trump. He was the
Yeah,
professional, the well spoken, the guy who played the politics game, knew what he was doing, but held all of Trump's positions and was even more conservative in many ways. This is the
yeah,
guy who's going to take the GOP to the next century or whatever. And he fell flat right away. And
yeah,
Trump is just mocking him openly, like crapping on the guy. He's hated by the vast majority of Republicans because, again, the vast majority of Republicans are MAGA. They love Trump. And anyone who's standing in Trump's way, even though it's a ridiculous showing, and Trump, they actually don't threaten Trump in any way, shape, or form realistically. They just view anyone standing in Trump's way as, this guy is, we're done with him. Over. I mean, obviously, over the next few years, that could change. What's in the past is in the past. But as of right now, Ron DeSantis has lost all of that,
the mojo, his
the
mojo's gone.
mojo, the shine that they put on him.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, if he just waited for next election year, just let Trump have his last moment in the spotlight, whether he won or lost, there would still be a Republican primary in 2028. If he just waited those
maybe,
additional
but
years, it would have been better. Well, yeah, that's true in terms of what Trump
you can
could do.
always change the law.
Yeah,
Always
that's
change the
right.
law.
That's true. Right. We're
I mean,
talking
like
Trump. That's true.
the fact that like you can't serve more than 2 terms is, I mean, honestly, it's made up bullshit. They made that up. The Republicans made that up because they were mad about fucking FDR. Like,
Right.
that's
Right.
just made up bullshit.
Right.
Like one other thing on
But
this
I
is
get it
that,
though. I would have been fine with
yeah,
unlimited terms for FDR. I would have
yeah,
been.
like, like whatever. Like, there there's some criticisms to be made, but like overall, winning 4 terms, like he won those. But I think the just one more point on this, which is that the Trump MAGA kind of cult like mentality of the Republican Party that's taken over the Republican Party uh, tends to distress some people. Not us for this reason, I don't think, but it does distress some people who are like, like, no, we really need, like, the Republicans need to be a serious and strong party, like this, like Trump stuff is like, this is really bad for the party, this is bad for the country. Like, we really need to have a strong Republican Party. And my rejoinder to that is, why? Why do we need that? I don't think that we need that. I think that us not having that would be great. I think that like the weaker that they are, the better.
Right.
Honestly, like
Right.
we don't need that at all. And so part of me, other than the prospect of him getting elected again, and kind of and just the kind of the mutant people that have come into Congress on the back of his movement, but like the idea that he could, like, implode the GOP is like not something that bothers me at all. And I think that people should, like, kind of like welcome that self destruction that is going on within the GOP, and urge it along. Let's Let's get that moving a little quicker.
Oh no, I agree completely. I did that.
Yeah.
I hate whenever who's the one who constantly says it? Nancy Pelosi, right?
Well, yeah.
Constantly saying, "Oh, we need no, no, no." I would love it if the Republican Party died, and in its place, a new party showed up, or a general election that's two Democrats going at it and actually getting a real progressive on a general election stage where the Democratic base alone isn't choosing who the candidate is, but the entire population gets to vote in a election that has an actual progressive. I don't think this country's seen an actual progressive in a general election on a national stage. And God,
Right. Well, this is what I'm saying.
50, 60, 70, I don't even know how long, 70 years maybe.
Like we already have a right wing party. Like why do we need it? We don't need another one. Why do we need a party that's to the right of the Democrats? That's way right wing enough. We're good. That's good. Like we don't need to go any further to the right. Like that's fine.
Right. The scary thing though is that obviously there's plenty of Democrats who think their own party is too far left and they need the Republicans there to pull them rightward.
Right.
It's just unbelievable.
Yeah. Anyway.
Just unbelievable. But Trump versus Biden general election, that's what it's going to be. I think everyone who's paid any attention knew it was going to be that's going to be the case. It'll be interesting. It will be interesting to see New Hampshire because if Nikki Haley, this is Nikki Haley's one shot to, I guess South Carolina, because I mean, for her, if she doesn't have a showing there, then she's dead
but she would
in
have
the water for sure.
Going in. She would have to have momentum going in, or she couldn't do it. But I
mean, but that's her state. That's her state. If she can't pull that off,
right? But if she goes in there after getting slammed by Trump in New Hampshire, I think it's over. I don't think she can make it happen. I think that's it.
I think she goes to South Carolina no matter what and has her John Kasich moment where you remember that? Right. Remember when Kasich won Ohio and the confetti was there was after 20 losses and Trump already ran away with it and he's celebrating with the confetti because he won Ohio where he was governor.
I think we're gonna have something more like Elizabeth Warren in 2020 where she loses her home state, maybe third place.
That would be. I don't know if she would get third place there. I can't imagine DeSantis having a strong.
I didn't think that Warren would get third place either. And she
got
third place.
Yeah. Well, at that point, I think people realized it was barely a 2-man race even at that point with Bernie and Biden. So she had no. Oh, boy.
Anyway, let's not relive the past. Let's not relive the past.
Yeah. Let's look at our horrible future where we've got the worst Democratic candidate since I don't even know, man. This Israel-Palestine stuff with Biden is just so depressing.
It's real bad.
To think that all these progressives had all this stuff to say about how horrible a Hillary Clinton presidency would be. Man, I got to tell you, Hillary would not be this bad on Israel-Palestine. I mean, you could just look at the history and how Biden undercut her previously when she stood up to Netanyahu under the Obama administration, and Biden went face to face with Netanyahu and was like, call their bluff. They're just all talk. I got your back, man. To Netanyahu as the vice president of the United States. I mean,
I know.
We got the worst fucking possible Democratic president for this moment in time. And on the other side, we have the worst possible choice all around, domestically and when it comes to foreign relations. At the very least, Biden has some things going for him on domestic issues. Trump's got none of it going for anything. So it really is between the worst and the very worst in the general election.
It's a bleak situation for sure.
Yes. But for me personally, as a person who votes strategically, I will do my duty and vote for the worst so we don't get the very worst.
Go for it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in New York. I guess I don't have to, but I feel like
Yeah,
there's a
that is true.
responsibility. But I also tell people you do you. I'm not one of those people who I hate those people who go at people and like I'm like they're gonna shame them into voting for someone. The worst possible strategy to get people to vote the way you want them to vote.
It's already started. It's already
Yeah,
started.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Eoin Higgins, everybody. Always a pleasure to have you on the show. Really appreciate you coming on to talk about CES. Really appreciate you coming on to spend a little bit of extra time talking about the Iowa caucus and our horrible future with the general election coming up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
My pleasure.
take a quick minute to let people know where they can find you and promote whatever you'd like.
Yeah. You can find me on Twitter at EoinHiggins underscore Owen Higgins underscore. And keep an eye out for my book project that's pinned to my Twitter page. And
Ooh.
I'm sure that once I have more to talk about with that, I'll be back to chat for sure.
Oh, you absolutely will be if you'd like to. So feel free to reach out when you
Yeah,
do. Looking forward to it.
definitely.
All right.
All right.
Take care, Eoin.
Bye, Matt. Bye, guys.
All right, folks. There is much more show coming at you in just a minute. I'm going to take your calls, your super chats, your Twitch membership chats or whatever, bits or whatever the hell it's called, Prime subscriptions, your phone calls via Skype. We're going to have a lot more to talk about. But first, I got to tell you. This is the promo housekeeping stuff right now before we go into that second half of the show where I do talk with you guys. But I gotta say, very rough time in terms of doing stuff for this show that brings in super chats and memberships and Patreon subscribers and stuff. Because that week with Christmas and New Year's, and then I was out last week because I was in Vegas for CES. So the revenue is way, way down. People have let their subscriptions lapse, obviously, because I wasn't here to remind them. So, folks, let's go through all that stuff right now. You can drop a super chat. That's a one-off payment where I read your comment during the show and answer whatever question or comment you have to ask at youtube.com/MattBinder. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel there as well. You could also become a member on YouTube if you'd like to get all the cool little emojis and stuff, emoticons, whatever it's called. You also get a free super chat too, I think, every live stream if you're a member too as well. So definitely check that out. youtube.com/MattBinder. And then over on Twitch at twitch.tv/MattBinder. If you are an Amazon Prime subscriber, connect your Amazon account to your Twitch account, and your Amazon Prime subscription gives you a free Twitch Prime subscription every month. What does that mean? It means you can give your favorite creator a paid subscription that doesn't cost you anything more than the Amazon Prime subscription you're already paying for. Amazon basically gives you free money to give to your favorite creator every month as part of your Amazon Prime subscription. If you don't use it, you're basically letting Amazon keep that extra money that could have gone to your favorite creator. Seems kind of pointless to let Jeff Bezos keep even more of your money, right? And even if you don't want to give it to me, I'm going to be a good guy and tell you to give it to someone. Give it to Hassan, although he probably doesn't need it. Give it to some small creator like me over on Twitch. Just give it to somebody, preferably me. But give it to somebody. Don't let Jeff Bezos and the Amazon conglomerate keep even more of your hard-earned money. You can catch the podcast version of this show at doomedcast.com. You can check out Scam Economy, the backlog of Scam Economy, my other show at scameconomy.com. I'll have new episodes of that coming out soon too. It's a new year, folks, so reconfiguring everything. Also, did not get a chance to launch it because before Christmas I got sick, and the Christmas week came, and then the CES week came, but I was setting it up with the belief that it would be launched by now. I have a newsletter at disruptionist.com. It's going to launch very soon. It's going to be analysis, original reporting. I'm gonna reach out to a number of guest writers. People are gonna contribute to it. If you're already a subscribed via Patreon, I have your email. I added you to the newsletter email list, and I sent out a email saying that'd be the case. So if you wanted to unsubscribe, you could. You didn't have to. But if you are not subscribed, go to disruptionist.com. It's going to be launching really soon. And then, of course, I've not checked the Patreon page. I have a feeling, the YouTube revenue was down by like 2/3. It's rough right now. Yeah. Same with the YouTube. Same with the Patreon. Oof. Way down. We're back on our regular scheduled streams now, though. No holidays, no trips. So if you'd like to support this show, I would like to create even more content, YouTube content, video content, the newsletter content. Feel free to go to patreon.com/MattBinder and become a paying subscriber. Here's how you could support. Oh, let me thank the people who did sign up recently. Give me a second here. Not many people, but there were people nonetheless. Let me thank. Everyone's not showing up either. Let me see. Let me thank Elia R. Kinder K. Let me thank let's see. Omni. Who else? Eagle Left. Ben S. And we just got someone joined right now. Soren CF. Thank you so much, all of you. These are people who Soren just became a member right now, and everyone I just named became a member in the past 2.5 weeks. Because I think that's the last time I was able to drop the Patreon subscribers, the newbies. Thank you so much for your support. Literally cannot do this show without you. And yeah. I'll be reading your super chats, your Twitch messages, your phone calls. Open up Skype. If you have the app downloaded on your on your computer or on your phone, you could use that. But you could also use the web version, like the in-browser version of Skype. You don't got to download anything. Owen used the web browser version to talk with me, and that worked out fine. You just have to search Doomed Live, and my username will come up. I think it's officially like Doomed Live _1. It's the automatic one that Skype gave. But if you search Doomed Live, it'll come up, and you could call into the show. All right. Let's do this. Let's go to the second half of the show. Oh, really quick. I'll be on the Majority Report Thursday. I'll be on Leftist Mafia. My return to both Majority Report and Leftist Mafia on Thursday. It'll be good to see the entire crew. Emma and Brandon and Bradley and Matt Leck over on Majority Report. And then, of course, Lance and Mike and David and Rebecca over on Leftist Mafia. And, I made my Novara Media debut this week to talk about the Iowa caucus and analyze that and break it down for everyone over there in the UK and beyond who watches Novara Media. And, all right, folks, let's go to the second half of the show. If you're watching the freebie version of the show that's uploaded on the podcast, this is where I say goodbye to you. Everyone else on the live stream and Patreon subscribers, don't go anywhere. I'll be back in just a second while I refill my drink. Freebies, I'll see you all next time on Doomed.
technological collapse, corporate fascism, corporate journalism, police brutality, voter suppression, austerity economics, education masses, rampant homophobia,
We got our first caller. Hey, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's up, Matt?
Hey,
You from Jamaica?
Dave from Jamaica. How are you doing, my friend? What are we going to talk about today? I don't think you are exactly what you claim you are. I would say you're a conservative. What makes you a liberal?
I'm pro-Green New Deal.
Are you? Yes, really? Absolutely. Really? I have watched the show. I've seen you completely come out and get really mad at Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez for some of the things in the Green New Deal. All right, we are back. Let's go straight to the calls because we got a bunch of people calling in. It's good to be back. Good to be back. I really missed you all. Seriously, I really enjoy doing this this show. I mean, the amount of shows I do, it's obvious I enjoy talking with you all. I do like 3 regular shows a week, sometimes 4 if I get in a scam economy. And then whatever show I'm asked to be on as a guest throughout the week, which is usually like 1 or 2 various shows a month, maybe, if not more. All right, let's do it. Let's get right into the calls. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, Matthew.
Oh, what a great way to start the phone calls on this. Really, this is the first real, because the first show I did of 2024, which is an all call-in show. It was just because I knew I was going away, and the next day I went away, I think it was, and just didn't have time to really get things together. So this is really the first real show of the year. And what a great way to kick things off than taking a call from RFK Jr.
Well, thank you, Matthew. You certainly were missed. I was looking and trying to find you, but obviously the program wasn't there. So the reason I'm calling tonight is I just wanted to thank the American people and the people of Iowa for the amazing turnout for me last night in the Iowa caucus.
Oh, really? Wait, was there? That wasn't. That wasn't. Go ahead.
What?
Go ahead.
We had an amazing turnout, even though the weather was quite cold, but we had an amazing turnout, and I think this bodes well for the whole presidential campaign.
Wait, I don't think you were part of the Iowa caucus, though.
What?
That was just the Republican caucus. Also, you're not running as a Democrat anymore. Remember, you're just running third party. You don't need to do this primary stuff anymore because you're just going to be on the general election ballot if you can actually get the signatures to get on each state's ballot.
I'm not sure about that. I'll need to check with my people. But I do want to announce also the amazing project that we have going in California to make sure that I'm on the ballot. We're starting you probably haven't seen this because you've been very busy with your electronics mind control thing there in Las Vegas. and I think you may not have noticed that I've started a new party in California. We're starting a new party. It's called We the People.
I did miss that. Is that true? That's what you're doing?
That is true. And we sat down with Frank Luntz and had focus groups to come up with the name of the party. I think it's going to be a real winner and a real unifier for the presidential election.
Oh, interesting. What's the party platform?
We the People.
What does that mean, though? Well, We the People what?
Well, we the people. It's very plain and simple. We need to restore faith in we the people of America.
All right, and what does we the people of America want, according to RFK Jr.?
Well, we certainly want to stop to these rampant freedom erasing lockdowns that continue to this day.
Do they?
We also want freedom from vaccines that haven't been tested, that no one knows anything about, that no one has any idea how they work at all. We need to stop this, man. It's almost Joseph Mengele territory that we're entering here.
Is it really?
I think so, and I think the American people will really, really catch on to this message.
All right, I think that's certainly an interesting thing to say. You really think this is the
This is Matt. This is my year. This is my year, man. It's obvious.
So you think you're gonna become president of the United States? You feeling good about it?
I'm feeling very good about it. We have polling that would knock your socks off. It really is astonishing, the polling that we're getting. Over 95% support for the people that we're polling. It's really, really quite incredible.
Can you give me a little taste of what these polls are finding? Where are you? Like, give me are they asking voters between you, Trump, and Biden, or what's the and where are you placing?
I'm not sure about the details, but I guarantee you that I'm running away with it, and the momentum is certainly on my side.
Oh, I mean, what do you mean by running away with it, though? Are you like you really feel strongly that you're going to become president of the United States? I just want to be clear here.
If you're not confident in yourself, Matt, how can you expect the American people to be confident?
Right. I mean, I think that's
a good vote for you.
I think that's a good way to look at things in life, like most things in life. But I don't think you can will yourself into winning a presidential election in that way. I don't think you can.
Well, after all the MK Ultra things, you're not convinced that people can be willed into acting against their own will?
I don't think you could. I don't think the hustle mentality works when it comes to winning elections. I don't think that happens.
Look at what the government is doing with Taylor Swift.
What's the government doing with Taylor Swift?
They've turned her into a psyop.
What?
Obviously, you've been away from the news for far too long, Matt. Taylor Swift has been mind controlling her fans using posts on her Instagram page.
Really?
Now you know the power of social media. You, of all people, should know the power of social media.
Wait, so what is she telling her? What is she telling her fans via subliminal messaging?
Well, the subliminal messaging is that they should register to vote at vote.org.
That's the subliminal messaging. But don't you want voters to register to vote? Because don't you want people to register to vote? Because otherwise, how?
Taylor Swift fans are on a mission to destroy America. We could see that every town she goes to turns into a bastion of liberal ideals and stupidity.
Wait. But RFK, I thought you wanted to restore we the people. Do Taylor Swift fans not count as we the people?
I didn't think about that.
I mean, shouldn't they, regardless of whether you disagree with them or not, shouldn't they be able to voice their opinion and vote?
It's very easy to see that Taylor Swift has been used by the government. Her entire career has been puppeted by the Pentagon and the deep state that exists in the government. You know all about this, Matt.
RFK, are you going to tell me next that Taylor Swift was there at the grassy knoll? I mean, Where you go with this? That Taylor Swift
Well,
is
we haven't rolled that out yet, actually.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay.
Also, while I have you on the line, Matt, I appreciate the time very much. Thank you.
Oh, I truly love when you call in, RFK.
Well,
One of my favorite callers, hands down.
many of the television shows don't offer me such latitude, and I certainly appreciate it. One thing I did want to address,
Sure.
very important to restore trust in America and trust in me to be the leader of the country. These vacuous, vicious rumors about myself and Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh, right. Where you
Now,
you were asked on television if you never rode on Jeffrey Epstein's plane before, right? And you were like, not only did I ride on it, I rode on it twice.
well, I think you should listen to the answer that I gave.
I
Two
did.
times thank you. The two times that I flew on Jeffrey Epstein's were totally innocuous. My family was there. My children were there. Nothing of the outside of the ordinary took place on that plane. So I just wanted to clear up that the three times I flew on Jeffrey Epstein's plane,
Wait.
nothing
Whoa. Hold on one
ever
second.
happened.
Hold
Jeffrey
on one
Epstein
second.
was very well connected with many powerful people. So the four times I flew on his plane were all above board.
You need to pause it. You need to pause it. Robert, Bobby, if you will. Did you just say three times you were on Jeffrey Epstein's plane?
Did I?
I'm pretty sure you said three times
Look,
just now.
Just because I flew with Jeffrey Epstein on the plane 5 times doesn't mean that anything strange happened.
Whoa. Hold on. Seems like you keep updating the amount of times you flew on a plane with Jeffrey Epstein.
It should be very clear to you by now that 6 trips on a plane really should not have any bearing on your impression or the American people's impression of me as a reliable, trustworthy person to put in charge of the nation. Seven flights on a plane should not disqualify anyone, from much less of patriots such as myself, from being the president of the United States. So I just wanted to clear that up about the 8 trips I took with Jeffrey Epstein on his plane.
All right.
Thank you very much for that.
Really quick question though. When you sort of describe the trips as being family trips with your kids on board and to your parents' house, that's how you described the original 2 you mentioned on cable news. I believe you just said we're up to 8 times now. Does that description also?
I'd refer you to my press department about the 9 flights that I took with Jeffrey Epstein, and I really appreciate the time, Matthew. Welcome back to the show. We certainly miss you, and I'll be looking for more of your excellent writing on Smushable and the other websites that you write for. So thank you very much.
I appreciate the call, RFK Jr., and I would love to hear more about those plane trips.
We'll do that another time. Thank you. Have a wonderful night.
Have a great night. RFK Jr., everybody. All right, folks. What a great call. Where else will you get presidential candidates in the race going to be on general election ballots calling into a show? I mean, only here on Doomed with Matt Binder. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Matt, it's Tony from Texas.
Hey, Tony, can I pull your video feed up on the stream?
Please do.
All right, cool. Let's do it. Tony from Texas, everyone. How you been, Tony? Long time no talk. Everything going good?
Yeah, you know, it's things are on the up. I'm
Oh, good. For a
I'm
second, I was
having
afraid you were gonna go, not so much.
I mean my roommate responded super well to the treatment for the giant cell tumors
Oh, that's great to
that
hear.
were affecting his lungs, and responding to it so well that they may not even have to do any kind of surgery. The treatment's shrinking the tumors so well. So it's a little bumpy, and things are that can always improve, but overall, life's kind of starting to be manageable. So I'm getting
Uh,
I'm getting some I'm getting some good VFX work. But I'll tell you,
mm,
the thing I wanted to call in and share about is
uh,
I somebody shared with me
uh,
a couple of Coinbase commercials
ooh, what?
that are absolute nightmare rage fuel.
Oh yeah. What are
Yeah.
they? I got it.
Oh,
I've
I
not. I
gotta.
don't see. I don't
it-
have TV, so I don't see like organic. Not really. I mean, that's not really the way to call it, but commercials that air on television.
Yeah, you don't see the commercials in the wild
And
like
I
that.
don't really. I surprisingly, I don't watch too much YouTube. So I don't see ads on there all that much. I've not come across any new Coinbase adverts. So lay them on me. What am I missing here?
I'm linking it to you in
Oh,
the
oh,
Skype
oh, oh,
chat
oh,
now.
oh, 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 oh. Should I
It their update the system campaign.
update the? Oh my god! Now should I play them on the on air here? I don't think you could hear
I,
them
I
if I
don't.
do.
I mean, it's probably for the better. I would not. I saw red after watching them the first time. Um, I was nearly apoplectic. It made me so mad.
Wait, hold on.
But
How long is this? Hold on. Maybe we'll watch
they're
one. Okay, we can watch one. It's 30 seconds long.
yeah.
I'm looking at the description. It's called update house. Update the system. I'm already a little bit bothered at what could possibly be there.
Oh,
Hold
it's
on,
yeah.
I'm gonna download it really quick because I don't like playing from the browser because there's always issues with that. Hold on, let me just quickly grab this video. So you said I'm gonna see red after watching this.
I mean, I sure did.
All right, let's see. It's downloading right.
And
Almost done. All right, download it. All right, let me pull it up. You watched it. You know what to expect.
yeah.
All right, so here we go. Let me just pull this up on the feed here, and let's see what this is all about. This is the latest, one of the latest Coinbase adverts, commercials, if you will, called House. Update the system.
Get a job, save a little, take out a mortgage, buy a house. Get a job, save a little, take out a mortgage, buy a house. Get a job, save a little, take out a mortgage, buy a house. Get a job, save a little, apply for a mortgage, get a second job, get some roommates, rent a house. Realize the only generation that's going to fix this is yours, and start building.
Oh my God. Oh wow. Wow. See, what I love about it is, and this is obviously going to speak to people who are millennials and Gen Z. They have correctly, sort of, in like a summarized version, obviously, in a 30-second version, detailed visually how many young people in this country feel. How previous generations, like they said, get a job and we're able to buy a house.
Mm-hmm.
And this generation is not, or the younger generations are unable to do that. That is obviously the correctly identified problem.
Right.
But then they are telling the viewer that the solution to this is to change the system. And what is that system? Which is, I'm all for that. Yeah,
Sure.
obviously. Yeah, let's.
Okay.
So
let's
far,
change-
so good. So far, so good. What is changing the system? Speculating on crypto, baby.
It's like they went, "Oh, you are immolating in that fire. I've got just the thing for you. Have this gallon of gasoline.
It's. Is this the worst of the two that you sent me, or is this other one?
No, the other one's even worse, and
Real?
yeah.
You know what? I gotta watch this one. All
It's
right.
so bad.
You got kids in this one. You got children in this one. That's gonna speak to me. All right. As a dad, here we go. Let's see what
Digital
this is.
homunculi, more like.
Oh my! Hold on. Let me download it really quick. Give me about a second or two here. It's halfway done. 75% done. I got it. All right. Here we go. Let's watch this other Coinbase. This one is called "Break the Cycle." Oh boy. Oh boy. I'm cringing already.
We were born into a system with numbers and papers.
And lines.
And waiting.
You work hard, get good grades, go to college.
I want to go to college. I got good grades.
I overachieved.
That's right, she did.
Debt is good?
Debt is so good.
So much debt.
I can totally save up and buy a house and start a family.
I want a family.
Oh.
Starting a family means you need 2 or 3 jobs.
You can't afford to buy.
You can't afford to rent.
Used cars cost as much as the new ones.
Oh.
Good debt is
I was
good.
ahead of my class.
Houses are too
Hard,
expensive.
get good grades, go
The
to college.
system, the numbers.
Rent is freaking insane.
Breaking news. Everything is terrible.
Does it have to be this way?
What if it was different?
It's always been that way.
We've got to build our way out of it. Yeah.
Put control back to the hands of the people.
A system with less paperwork.
No waiting.
Permissionless.
Just because you're born into a system
Doesn't mean you have to live with it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
This one sucks because much like the other one, it's much like the other one, but also it identifies things that actually are not problems at all. I'm sorry. Paperwork is not a big deal. I'm sorry. It's the difficulty of like navigating some of those things, sure, but that's not paperwork.
Right.
That's not. I mean, I use a do-it-yourself tax system. That my cousin works for the company, and he just like is able to like send mine through without me having to pay for anything, which is a benefit I have.
Mm-hmm.
But like the issue isn't the inputting the numbers, because the automated systems do that for you. Like whatever. What's the company that they're trying to TurboTax? Hopefully the government's finally gonna release their system, which should take away what I'm getting to here. The real burden is the payment thing. People have to pay to do that, the automated stuff that makes doing their taxes easy. Again, it's not the paperwork; it's the cost factor of the easier systems.
It's monetizing problems rather than solving them.
Yes, and also like. Funny enough, like actually having debt actually is technically a good thing, as long as you're paying off the debt and not drowning in like the interest rates and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because that way you have that money not tied up in anything, and you could use that money for other things that are more prescient.
Mm-hmm.
So we actually debt that you can pay off every month is not a it's actually considered to be a good thing.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. It's it can adversely affect your credit to not be in some kind of like debt that you're paying.
Right. Because and their argument would, I bet, be like, we don't like that in the financial system or whatever. But again, that's not really the main problem. That's like the thing. Like maybe decades ago, one of the biggest problems for young people was not having enough credit history to be able to buy a home. And that was like the major roadblock, or one of the major roadblocks. But like credit history nowadays doesn't even get up to that point, because they just don't have the funds to even to even need a credit check, right?
Yeah, they're already drowning in student loans.
Right. Yes, exactly. But then,
yeah,
of course,
I started my adult life in an amount of debt that took me a decade and some change to pay off.
Right.
Like,
I would say that student loan debt is actually not the good debt I was talking about, because it doesn't actually really help your
It doesn't.
credit or help you look good to businesses, like when you need a loan or something. It doesn't help that at all. But all other forms of debt seem to be helpful in those aspects. But again, their whole shtick is that crypto will save it. That's the overlying message, the overarching message. Crypto will save you all. But like, how? What like, again, young people, I love how they drop like permissionless, automatic. Like, trust me, the major roadblock for young people is not that they have to wait one business day for the money to hit their bank account from a transfer or something. That's not the major issue.
I mean, it's only the major issue for people living paycheck to paycheck anyway. And like when it falls on that, I've had those days where I'm like, my rent is due and I'm just waiting for this check to clear so that I can go give this money to my landlord. But like,
I gotta say, I mean, I don't know for other people who with their banks, but I have two bank accounts. One I have because it was it's SoFi, like the online bank account, and the other one is like my local bank, so I could actually like use ATMs without getting hit with fees and stuff. I transfer money between the two of those when I need to pay off certain credit cards or whatever, or certain bills, and oftentimes, as long as I transfer the money before, I think it's like 8 p.m., the money is in my account like the next morning. So it's not even like
it's not even,
It's getting like, even the banks are getting quicker with that stuff.
Yeah. Like my my housemates and I have a joint account for our home expense stuff. Paying our mortgage and whatever kind of like home emergency fund type stuff if we need to do repairs or fix something or what have you. And it I don't know if it even takes a whole day most days. Yeah, as long as it's like during business hours, it usually transferring funds between those accounts doesn't really take any time at all.
Right. But crypto is going to save us all. It's going to solve all of our problems. We're all going to be able to buy homes once crypto is the monetary system, because we could transfer money immediately, even though we might transfer it to the wrong account, and that money's gone forever, and there's no bank to help you. And if you forget your password, or your computer dies and you didn't save your 18-word key phrase, and you don't recall the 18 words off the top of your head, then you're locked out of your account forever, and all your money's gone. Once that system takes over, we will all be able to buy homes.
Yeah. I mean that makes sense to me. I don't know. But yeah, I mean I know this seems like kind of a small nitpick in the face of everything else so egregious about those commercials. But there was just something a little extra ghoulish about CG animating the lips of the infant and giving like voiceover lines to that little baby being held in the hospital at the beginning and towards the end. That was a special kind of just gross.
I can't even remember all this stuff. They went like hyper speed in terms of like all the it was like in too much information to take in, but I'm sure that was part of the to overwhelm you and feeling hopeless. I just think that's a really bad selling point, actually. Like the negativity, and it actually, as a consumer for any product, hitting me with that is not like, give me the benefits of your product, not that everything else sucks. So why not try this?
Yeah. Well, on a lighter note, the scam economy intro that I have saved, that file, I've continually tweaked and updated, and now in fact has Binder coin in it. So and I've recently acquainted myself with DaVinci Resolve. So I got a busy couple of weeks ahead of me, hitting some pretty tight deadlines. But once I've cleared off my plate a little, I'm gonna go ahead and do like update the audio and everything for your scam economy intro and get that all packaged together and sent over to you. So you don't even have to do that. You can just swap out the old one for the render.
That's awesome.
With the sound and everything.
Yeah, because I'm seeing, based on those Coinbase ads and other things I'm seeing, crypto is like getting ready to stage a comeback. So,
You're gonna have plenty to talk about.
2023 was a slower year for crypto. And so I sort of let scam economy take a backseat. I regret that, actually. It's so funny how scam economy gets so many more podcast listens, but Doomed gets so many more live stream listens. Maybe I should just make Doomed an all live stream show and then scam economy only a podcast show. I have no idea, but it's just interesting how the different audiences consume the different shows. But I'm looking forward to seeing that intro.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice. And one of these days, I'm gonna get you that Doomed treatment as well. But yeah, I got some demo reels that I'm working on cranking out. So once I've got some more polished stuff to put up, folks can hit up my my Instagram or my link tree to check out my work. That's a link tr.ee/rizzo.tony. If you need to get something commissioned, or just want to get into doing digital graphic stuff and want some pointers on some communities that are really good for learning that sort of thing. And if you got some dosh to spare, patreon.com/mattbender.
Aw, always appreciate it. We're gonna have to really ramp up the promotion during Leftist Mafia tomorrow.
Yeah. Hey, oh wait, speaking of, did you happen to tune in for your super chats from last Thursday?
No, I got super chats. I got super chats last Thursday.
You got super chats last Thursday.
I'll have to read those.
Yeah, you should.
Let me see. Let me. Was there a lot?
There was a fair few. Some folks spread the love to some of the folks that were actually present, but I cashed in my my monthly member chat.
Let's read them. Let's read them. Let's see if I can find them first of all. I mean, if you did one and you're right here on the show with me, let's read them. All right, let's see.
Yeah.
There's only two. I don't see the others. I don't see yours. I only see two. That's weird. Do the member ones not go through? Oh, maybe that's somewhere else. Hold on. Maybe they put that in a different part of the Yes, they put that in a different part of the where is it? No, I don't see those. That's so weird. I would have to watch the show, I guess.
I guess so. Cause Mike did stick around and made sure to read even the super chats that came up in your chat, in the membership chat.
So they were read. That's good.
They were they were read. I just used mine to be like, hey, while you're at the tech show, if you want to snag me an RTX 4090, you'll get free animation for life.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, so this is what I see the ones. This is stupid. YouTube does this. So they show me in the membership section. They show me comments on, like, in the comment section, not the live chat, from members. And then in the super chat section, they show me the paid live stream super chats. Like I can go back and see as many, all the videos, but they don't put the membership super chats, like the super chats that come with your monthly membership, in any specific area. I'm gonna reach out to them and let them know that this is a problem. They got to put that out there somewhere too. But Balthazar228 said America officially. Okay, this was about America striking Yemen. That must have happened that day. And then Omega, like Trump, Biden is about to drag us into the throes of COVID, possibly start World War III during the election year, and cuts to popular policies. That's all I see though. Those two super chats. That makes me upset.
Yeah. Well, I'll let some other callers take their swing. Charlie says she sent you some messages on Skype.
Okay. All right.
And a friendly reminder that if you want to hook me up with Discord mod privileges, I'll help.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
This I know you guys have heard. I know you guys have heard me say this all the time, but I actually was setting up that newsletter a couple of weeks ago, and I actually find Substack to be a lot more straightforward in organizing everything than Patreon. I don't know what it is about Patreon. It overwhelms me. And so I think once I set everything up there and able to organize that, I'll be able to then go through everything and organize everything. But I will get you the Discord mod because I want to use the Discord more this year too. So I'll get you on that.
Cool. All right. Well, you have a great night, Matt, and thanks for another great show.
Oh, thank you. Have a great night, Tony. Let's go right back to the phones. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Forrest from California.
Hey, Forrest. How you doing? What was it to talk about?
I've got two things. The first one is I sent you an article on Skype, mostly so I don't forget to talk about it. But basically, there's a company that was doing like AI news, like as in they were having AI programs write their news articles for them.
Oh, that's the worst. Listen, like I said, I think there's utility to some AI stuff. I could see using AI to like summarize a list of stories that you won't all be able to check out, and then use the summary that you read to actually go, oh, that's the story I'm interested in, and then go and actually read that full article. Like that's like the one area I can see AI helping if there's like too much content for you to get through and you only need to find the most interesting stuff. So you just use it to like summarize things, and then you actually then go and read the ones you're interested in, but like actually read the original story and everything. Maybe that's one use case for like AI writing stuff, but complete articles, that's garbage. Absolute garbage.
For sure. There is a silver lining though, because they got caught and the backlash was so bad that the owner tried to sell the company, but nobody wants to buy it.
What is this company?
I think it was CNET, if I'm remembering right.
CNET was doing this. They're big. What?
I'm saying this off the top of my head because in order to look at the article, I would have to cancel this call. So.
Oh, I can open the article. Hold on. It's in the chat. You said.
I sent it on Skype.
It was on Facebook.
It was like I sent it to Skype.
Okay, I see it. Hold on. Okay, you sent. Okay, I see. It was a Facebook link you sent. Hold on, I see it. From Futurism, CNET's publisher having trouble selling it due to AI scandal. Ooh, interesting. CNET parent company Red Ventures has been looking to sell off the stalwart technology site, according to a new report from Axios. But unfortunately for Red Ventures, it's had a tough time finding a buyer, and CNET's AI scandal bears at least some of the blame. Back in January 2023, Futurism found that CNET had been quietly publishing AI-generated articles under the dubious byline CNET Money Staff. Jeez, to see that the articles weren't written by humans, you had to click that byline, resulting in a pop-up message, which many felt was insufficient disclosure. On closer inspection, over half the AI-generated CNET articles ended up containing glaring errors and plagiarism that resulted in corrections. Wow.
Yeah.
Go to futurism.com. CNET's publisher having trouble selling it due to AI scandal by Maggie Harrison. To read the entire article, I just read the first paragraph and a half just to give you guys a taste. But yeah, that's really something else, right? I mean, the fact that they're actually having trouble, that's good. I think that's good. I think that's a good lesson for everyone else out there.
Oh, definitely. I really hope that at some point enough of the backlash will kind of percolate through the tech sector that they'll back off of the like tech craze, because it's a normal tech craze in a lot of ways where it's just like, oh, there's this crazy thing, we can use it for anything and everything, and we should try it for anything and everything. But
if you're interested in AI as a tool in this industry, like I can see you create some sort of AI that scans for what's trending across the internet, so you can figure out what to report on, or figure out what stories or what category you should look further into, like what news category you should look further into to see if there's anything interesting to cover there. I can see that being helpful. Again, there's tools that can be used to help real human beings who are experts in their particular niche or whatever do the work that they're best at that they do best. But having an AI completely take the place of a human writer is the most grossest thing I could think of. And on top of that, it's going to be garbage output.
Oh, yeah. There is one use case that I can think of for AI, which is in video games. Like, if you want to have parts of the video game that aren't part of the main story, I don't advocate doing this for the parts of the main story, but if it's like a side quest or you're just kind of a random encounter and you want to have more diverse dialogue rather than the same guy saying the same line every time you run into him, I could see using AI for that.
Right. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I think the best, one of the better AI use cases, while I was at CES, I actually was invited to a SAG-AFTRA announcement that they were making at CES. And the announcement was that they were partnering with their very first AI company. They signed a deal with an AI company, Replica AI Studios. That was the first AI-related contract they signed with a studio like that. And it was for video game voiceover artists. And I was like hesitant. I was like, what's SAG-AFTRA doing? This was a major, the AI stuff was a major issue when they went on strike. And it was like a major thing they were fighting with the studios over. So I was really interested to see like what was this deal all about? And so I had asked, basically the deal was fair compensation and complete consent required from voiceover artists before their voice is used for AI generated voiceovers in video games.
Mm-hmm.
And some of that, obviously consent is needed from the artist, the VO artist. They must be paid for their work, and that payment covers a certain amount of AI creation time. And if they go beyond that, they have to then pay the voiceover artist more for additional use of their voice for extra AI voiceovers. That all sounds good. But then I asked, but what's the point of even getting a video game studio to use AI voiceovers if there's a voiceover artist, like a voiceover actor, they're ready, already part of the project? Why not just use real voiceovers? Mm-hmm. And I thought that their answer was actually interesting. So the CEO of the AI studio gave me an answer and said, well, look at it this way. This is how we foresee it being used. He said to me that Red Dead Redemption 2 took 5 years to record the voiceovers for the game.
Oh, wow.
And I actually didn't believe that. I looked it up, and apparently it's correct. It took them 5 years to record all the voiceovers. He said that if a studio with lesser resources, or a studio that just wants to get the game out faster than 5 years, or wants to do something even bigger than Red Dead Redemption, but in lesser time, they can still get a voiceover artist to come in and record lines and stuff, but they can also speed up by having the AI voice generate some of this voiceover too.
Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting. I mean, again, I'd prefer organic, real human voices throughout the whole thing. But, if you're a small studio trying to make your first game or whatever, and you're trying to get, you're getting really creative with it, or you're shooting for the stars. I mean, to me, as long as you're hiring someone and they're providing the voiceover, and then you decide to use their voice for the AI voice with their permission and they're part of the project, do I think that's great? No. But do I think that's okay and ethical and fine? Yeah. It's not the same as like there's these AI games out right now that were causing a lot of controversy where it's just like they're using the generic like what is that big AI voiceover studio, 11 Labs or something like that. They're just using like the generic 11 Labs voices or the TikTok voiceover voices. That's not cool.
Yeah, definitely. I think ultimately the real problem is that maybe there are equitable ways to do it, but there's no way we can trust that those are the things that'll be done.
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, SAG's job is to make sure that their members are getting paid and are not being taken advantage of, and they have full control over their art or their work or whatever. So I guess in essence, this deal they signed does the job that SAG is out to do. Like the moral or ethical from an artist perspective. I mean, I guess technically, SAG needs to consider that, but at the end of the day, their main concern is getting their artists fairly compensated.
Yeah, definitely. I think we should also be very grateful for how mediocre the tech bros really are when it comes to creative output, because there are definitely ways you could find interesting ways to use AI or crypto or NFTs. I'm not saying they're good things. I don't want them. I'm just saying you could theoretically think of interesting ways to use them. But because tech bros are inherently just like uncreative, unimaginative people looking to make a quick buck, like we have avoided that worst case outcome where it becomes like popular through some like backdoor, like somebody found an interesting way to use it.
I disagree with you on that in terms of crypto and NFTs and Web3, because it's all powered by the blockchain, and the blockchain is completely pointless technology. Like in terms of like excuse me, I drank too much soda. In terms of like what they claim to be their like ethical or moral reasons for creating NFTs or Web3 related stuff, to give creators ownership of their product or art so that they can get paid in perpetuity.
Yeah, I
think that model they claim to care about, sure, that's good. But the system, the technological system they've created to do it clearly shows that they don't care about that, because it's not
totally. Well, that's my point,
so I disagree. But that's like but Web3 and crypto and blockchain didn't come up with that idea. The idea that artists should get compensated for their work and should be able to get what's
that's
the word I'm
not
looking for?
what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that we're lucky that no one, like none of the, imagine if like somebody did one of those like NFT video games, but they did a good video game.
But it still requires you to buy into an NFT, which is a token on a blockchain.
But once you get your foot in the door, it becomes easier to get your next foot in the door, is what I'm saying. So if they had put out a good video game and had NFTs, then it would normalize it for a lot of people who think about pay for microtransactions in like billions and billions of dollars in microtransactions on mobile games. Like it's the same thing. You're just buying cosmetic random art crap
No, it's
like
it's
that doesn't do
it's
anything.
not it's not though. Like we've been making digital purchases on the internet for decades now. It's nothing new. The idea, like the microtransactions in video games are just like, oh, you could now buy a digital product within a video game that you've already paid for to unlock more stuff. But that's where that ends. It's not created as a monetizable sort of pyramid scheme where then people are buying up these digital products to then resell to other people who want to play. Like I can go on Fortnite and buy a skin, and everyone else could buy the same skin for the basic price of $7-8 per skin or whatever. There's no artificial rarity in those skins in terms of like where you missed out on that skin. I could sell it to you for $500 instead of $8. That is completely different.
I do actually do that.
Yeah, but that's sort of like like a black market though. That's like outside the system.
No, I mean the company literally does that. Like there are a lot of game companies where they'll have like a brief period of time where you can earn a skin and then later on you can buy it for a bunch of money, or they'll have bundles where like they'll purposefully make all the skins really expensive so that you buy the bundle. Or there's a lot of really shady the underbelly of the game industry is very dark.
I believe you. I mean, I guess I don't play that many games. Like to me, like Fortnite's obviously the big game. That's the one I play with my son. I play a lot of Fortnite. I gotta say they are really not predatory at all. I actually think their system is quite straightforward. You see a skin you like, it costs like 700 V-Bucks. 700 V-Bucks cost like $10 to get or something like that. You buy a skin and that's it. You can't resell it. There are skins you can only earn, but if you don't earn it, that's it. There's no way to get it. It's just like a skin for that particular season. You buy a battle pass to unlock those skins, and that lasts like 3 months for the season. And you earn enough V-Bucks. If you don't buy any skins in the store, you actually earn enough V-Bucks in the battle pass if you complete it to buy the next battle pass. So technically, you could buy one battle pass, never buy any other skin, complete the battle pass every 3 months, and never have to buy another battle pass with real money ever again because you just use the V-Bucks you earned from that previous battle pass. I mean, I actually think it's very straightforward. It's weird that Fortnite gets any shit because I think when it comes to that stuff, because they're very, I think like it's unlike a lot of the stuff that markets to kids. I think they make it loud and clear exactly what you get, what you pay for, and we're not trying to extract any more out of you in any sort of shady way.
Yeah, no, Fortnite's kind of unique though. Like it's a very unique game that uses those that system, but there are a lot of games that only saw the monetary part of the system, didn't really think about how to structure it in an equitable way in that way. So there are games that make billions of dollars just like selling loot boxes, for instance. And think of a loot box as like you pull the slots, you're guaranteed to get something from the slots, but sometimes the things you get from the slots is worth less than the coin you put in. That's how a lot of games fund themselves. Like imagine if they had the thought like, we'll do that, but in addition to the skin, you get an NFT. And then that normalizes the NFTs, and then that they continue to push further past that over time. Like, because that's how the game industry has always worked, is over the last 20 years or so, as games become more online and more digitalized, that word didn't make sense, but you get the point. As games become more online, they've evolved their monetization strategies, and they've done that by continuously turning up the heat with the like boiling the frog metaphor. So they'll do the horse armor in Oblivion. Everyone was all freaked out, like, oh my god, Oblivion sold $5 horse armor, and you wouldn't even think of that as a problem now. That wouldn't even occur to you as being weird.
I don't think it's a problem for them to sell in-game stuff as long as it's just
But you get what I'm saying, right?
as
It's
long
not
as long as it's just visual. Like, does the in-game horse armor change how you play the game, or is just like a visual?
No, but my point is that it changes how the higher ups see monetization of games. And then as the games get more and more monetized, the quality goes down because they extract things that would normally just be part of the game and then sell it back to you.
Right. I mean, one thing I hate about I give you an example is the WWE games now.
Mm-hmm.
They leave characters outside of the roster so they could sell them as packs later on. That I don't like, because that's lame as hell. Because if you buy a sports game, or wrestling is not a sport, I know, but it's a sports game. You should get the entire roster that the game comes out with. You know what I mean? Like, I can see I don't know, them selling packs for people who debuted after the game came out, but they don't do that. They hold current people back off the roster that comes with the game to sell them later on. I think that's bullshit.
Oh, for sure. I'm just very worried that if anybody with actual like creativity or engagement in the NFT crypto space beyond just making a quick buck ever got involved, they could actually make a lot of money in a way that normalizes those things.
Right.
That's
I see
all
what
I'm
you're
worried
saying.
about.
No, I see what you're saying. Luckily, though, gamers have, I think, realized what you're saying, because there's been a lot of pushback whenever a mainstream game company even toys with the idea of releasing an NFT. But that's even they're not thinking about that anymore. In fact, even Twitter removed their NFT avatars. That's how down NFTs are right now.
I do think we won against NFTs for the most part, thankfully.
For now, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I agree with you.
The other thing I wanted to talk about was that there's a very specific reason why the Hyperloop is like, it's impossible to ever scale it up. So, like, in terms of scaling it up to like a city size. So the real issue with the Hyperloop, I think, is ventilation. So it works when you only have electric cars and it's only in a small area, like in the hotel loop that you were talking about. But if you ever try to scale it up, I think that it would be like if you tried to use gas cars in the Hyperloop, I think that would be very dangerous because you would need very careful ventilation of the air. Otherwise, the exhaust would flood back down and like suffocate the drivers. So you would need a lot of ventilation. You would need not just like holes in the ceiling or whatever. You would need actual like fans and infrastructure around that. And you would need sensors that would detect like dangerous levels of carbon dioxide poisoning or whatever, that kind of thing. And I don't think that would ever be like doable, because maybe, I mean, it would cost hundreds of millions of dollars most likely for just a normal sized city. And then like 10 years down the line, well, maybe the city wants to do some cutbacks, so they're not doing as much maintenance on the ventilation systems, and then you start getting problems, because that's how infrastructure usually goes in America.
Right.
So I mean, that's the specter of anyone ever actually trying to scale that up. That's where I see that.
Yeah, it's I think that you've said it perfectly in terms of. I mean, you'd basically have to make sure it was a closed system where, much like the Vegas loop, it's a very specific company using their very specific cars with their own hired drivers. Would never be like a public transportation, like a mode for the public to use for their own vehicles or anything like that.
Yeah, I agree.
And then when it comes down to that, why not just like build a subway or even get buses on the road?
Yeah, totally. It'd be so much more cost effective.
Right. Great call, Forrest. Really appreciate it. Have a great night.
Yeah, you too.
Bye. All right, I will take one or two more calls. I'll try to take two. So we'll make these next two calls. We'll cap these next two calls at like 10, 15 minutes each. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Matt, it's Tokyo Hans.
Hey, Tokyo Hans. Can I pull you up on the feed?
Yeah, go for it.
How you doing, man? How's everything doing in Tokyo?
Yeah, good. At least it's not Kanazawa after that earthquake.
Right, right. And the plane crash you told us about, right? That was...
Yep.
Jeez.
And then the mass stabbing on the next day on the main train line around here. And the worst part, on the 4th, I stubbed my toe. So,
was that national news as well?
No, sadly. But yeah, today is all talking about earthquakes as well. Today is the 30-year anniversary of the Northridge earthquake back in '94, which I lived through. Yes.
You were in, wait, where was that?
In Northridge, California, in Los Angeles.
Okay.
So yeah, and then 1 year later, it's the 20-year anniversary as well of the Kobe quake. It happened exactly 1 year later.
Wow.
So there's something around this time that.
So you're an earthquake man. You know exactly what to expect. You've been through it. I've never. Well, that's not true. I've never experienced like a real earthquake, but I was here in 2010 when the East Coast was hit with that rare earthquake.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah. I felt the building shake in Manhattan, and it caused the Washington Monument to crack in D.C. Yeah, yeah. But that's the extent. I've never felt like a real earthquake, though, like a real California or Japan earthquake.
Yeah. And then there's the one in 2013 here in Japan, that big one that ruined the Fukushima, the nuclear plant. I wasn't on the mainland. I was on this tiny island about 500 miles from the mainland. While we didn't get hit by the earthquake itself, the boats, the ferries that come to the island, all the docks were shut down. So we didn't get any food or anything for a month. So we were basically fishing and foraging for like 2 weeks. So that was another, thing I had to go through.
Damn.
So
you've been through it all.
Yeah.
When it comes to earthquakes.
But yeah, earthquakes, typhoons, tornadoes, blizzards, everything. I've kind of had my travel. So, but also I wanted to clear up one quick thing, just to the chat. There seems to be always a lot of confusion between Tokyo Hans and Hanzi. We are two different people.
Oh, I never even thought of that. I mean, because to me, you guys are two very distinct people.
I'm the one with the beard and the glasses. He's the one with the beard and the glasses. Yeah, I know that's about it. So.
Wait, you were the one who was part of Howard Stern's Whack Pack for a short time, right?
Correct. Yes.
Right. Okay.
So, yeah,
man, I never knew people were doing that. That's crazy.
Yeah, a couple streams ago, that's like when Hansi was talking, and he had kind of like a mental issue, I guess, at the moment, and everybody was like trying to cheer him up and everything, and everybody's sending it to me on that time. So I'm like, wrong Hansi. So.
I will say I feel you, because I know what you're going through, because to this day, there are still people who think me and Matt Leck are the same person.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, I get it. Both of our names are Matt. But I mean, other than that, we sound different. We look different.
Yeah.
We're very different people.
Yeah, it's just to clear everything up with the chat real quick on there. And also just on the AI news, since we were talking about AI, just yesterday they had an expert panel for generative AI rules in Japan. So they set up like a government panel with one of the biggest universities here, and the Japanese units from Microsoft and Amazon attended, and like 33 other people came up, and they're setting up rules for generative AI here in Japan now. So it's going to become law, which is kind of, I don't know whether it's.
What are you have any idea what some of those rules, those regulations and rules are?
No, they haven't made it public yet. but yeah, they were just like talking about it at first. But it looks like they're gonna move ahead with it. But again, it's with the heads of Microsoft and Amazon, so I don't know how good these, rules can be at the end. But yeah, let's see from there.
All right, we will see. I hope they don't listen to the AI techies so they don't stifle innovation. I love when
Exactly.
U.S. politicians say that. We don't want to. We got to bring the experts in the industry over so we can hear from them, because we don't want to stifle their innovation. Give me a break. Give me a break.
All right, cool. That's all I really wanted to call about. Say hi to the chat and everything. Take it easy, everybody.
All right, thanks for the call, Hansi. Really appreciate it.
All right, take it easy.
Take care.
Well, actually, Hansi is actually correct. Hans is the adult version, and Hansi is a child, like Johnny and John kind of thing.
Really?
So, yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay. Well, take care, Tokyo. Hansi.
Right.
Have a great night. Always a pleasure. Oh, wait. No, what do you mean good night? Not good night. I got to point this out like I do every single time. Have a good lunch.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Take it easy.
Bye. All right. Let's take this next call. Let me take it. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Michael. It's Tokyo Hands.
Oh, Tokyo Hans. Great to see you. How are things in Tokyo, my friend?
Not so good, man.
Earthquakes?
I for this bit. I want to. Who's the guy that does the RFK Jr. shit?
Oh, Bob, right. Carmo.
Yeah,
he's good. He's really good.
I didn't come with his material of like, doing the whole. I didn't know that people confused me and Tokyo Hans, man. That's pretty crazy.
I didn't connect the two either, but I guess it sort of makes sense. Tokyo Hansi, right? But
I thought maybe since I started calling in, I thought maybe like Tokyo Hans was like, how like if I call your show, like I become a whack packer on your show, so people are now like having names dedicated to me. Basically, that's what I thought maybe.
Right. I mean, I think it's just the name. I think people just get.
By the way, go ahead. Sorry.
No, because I was gonna say like with like this, that's all it is with me and Matt Leck. People just like hear Sam say like Matt, and they just assume, oh, they're Matt Binder's on the majority report, that must be him, or vice versa. They hear something about Matt Binder and they go, oh, that must be majority report's Matt Leck. It's ridiculous. We're very clearly two different people.
By the way, I don't know who in your fan base sent me it, because it was a couple of months ago I asked, but somebody sent me a Blue Sky invite on my email, so I wanted to thank whoever sent me one. That was pretty cool. Because again, I signed up for Blue Sky.
Oh, cool. Perfect. Yeah, I need to get back on there. I mean, I've been posting on there a little bit. I've been away from social media for a few weeks now. It's been hard to get back into it. I took a break during that week between Christmas and New Year's, and then I started to inch back into it that week back, and then I was once again out at CES. Like I did post a little bit while I was at CES, and then I didn't even mention yet. Then after CES, I went to Austin. I went to Texas for the first time for a family a wedding. So I got to check out Austin, and we drove down to San Antonio for a day too to check out. I basically did a pilgrimage, my first pilgrimage, in honor of my religious icon, PeeWee Herman. And I got to visit the Alamo.
What is a pilgrimage? I don't understand that. What is a
pilgrimage? Well, I'm joking. A pilgrimage is like a religious, like a religious trip. Like people would make a pilgrimage to Mecca, or if you're a Muslim, or I'm joking about the pilgrimage, but I did get a little bit misty-eyed standing in front of the Alamo after watching Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Maybe about 100 times in my life, and standing right there, knowing that Pee-wee was there and asked about the basement of the Alamo, only to find out that there was no basement to the Alamo.
Oh shit. Like, I was never when I was coming up as a kid. I think PeeWee Herman was just ending. I think by the time I knew PeeWee Herman, I knew him for his like him jerking off in a porn theater. So I never really got PeeWee. Like I never really watched PeeWee Herman only until after the fact. You know what I mean? Like I would see people do impressions of him. Maybe because people's impressions were shitty of him. By default I didn't like him by default. Like I saw Joey Gladstone in Full House do an impression of him, and because he's a lame-o to me, right? I'm like, yeah, I don't think I like PeeWee Herman. You know what I mean? I never like got into it for some reason.
Right. Oh, Pee-wee's great. Pee-wee is great. The Pee-wee character, Paul Rubens, was a huge influence on me. And honestly, some of the comedians you like probably were influenced greatly by Pee-wee. I mean, I was reading an interview with Conan O'Brien, and he basically said that, you know, their vision for the Late Show when he got it, when he took over after Letterman, was basically like Pee-wee Herman, Pee-wee's Playhouse, but like an adult version of that. He was like one of like Conan's inspirations. And I think I'm a big fan of Conan. Like I'm a big fan of Pee-wee.
Okay, well, I am a Conan O'Brien. I guess it's probably like Sopranos in a way, where like even if you didn't watch Sopranos, you probably like shows that were influenced by like
right.
Sopranos.
I mean, The Sopranos basically, along with Oz, basically helped set up the that whole like HBO prestige show. Thing where like HBO was like, oh, people buy HBO to get these really well produced, well written television series, and you know, Oz and Sopranos sort of kicked that off for HBO.
Are you ever? I know you haven't watched it, but are you ever gonna dive into watch Sopranos? Are you curious?
I will. I'll watch it. I'm sorry, I've been distracted by this comment because it's completely wrong. Jeffrey says Pee-wee let us down like Bill Cosby did. What?
I think
what Pee-wee did. What Pee-wee did is what Paul Rubens did is nothing compared to what Bill Cosby did. What Paul Rubens did hurt nobody. Hurt nobody. In fact, he made a comeback in the 90s after it. And like he made an appearance on the MTV Music Awards, and the crowd welcomed him back with cheers. He was caught in a sting at an adult movie theater touching himself while watching an adult movie. That was what his big crime was.
Isn't that crazy how, see, yo, what's it called? Cancellation. Okay, Matt, I'm going to use the wrestling terminology here. Isn't it crazy that like canceled, like back then, Pee-wee Herman's career gets finished because of that, right? That would be like, oh my God, he got exposed as being kind of like whatever, a creep, whatever, like like jerking off, whatever, right? But now, like that's like that kind of shit. If that happened today, he would be like promoted at CPAC, basically. You know what I mean? Like he would be allowed to like.
But he, he was Pee-wee definitely was seems like a guy who was progressive, but in terms of like. But there's actors who've done much worse and continue to get work. I mean, again, what Pee-wee did, I don't even think should be a crime. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's an adult movie theater. What do you expect people to do at an adult movie theater? I mean, if Pee-wee was 20 years younger, if Paul Rubens was 20 years younger, he wouldn't have even been in an adult movie theater. He would have been just watching it on a computer in his home and wouldn't have gotten in trouble for touching himself.
Okay, so I was because again, I always thought that it was just him jerking off, but over the years, people have made like insinuations that like he was also involved with like having child porn or something like that. So I never knew that.
Decades later, he was involved in another like sting or something, where they were I don't know how it got to the Los Angeles DA or whatever. but there were claims that he had child pornography or something. And it turns out he was a collector of vintage erotica. And in his collection of like thousands of images, there were like a handful of photos where they couldn't determine the age of the person in the photos because they were vintage. So at the end of the day, they like let him off, or they charged him with like a misdemeanor or something that didn't even require him to register as a offender or anything like that, because it didn't even rise to that. And according to the person who sold him the collections, like that was, and they interviewed him and he didn't get in trouble for anything. This guy wasn't distributing child porn. He was like, oh, Paul Rubens purchased this stuff in such bulk that it would be impossible for him to know specifics of like what could have been in there. Like this was like, he was a bulk collector of like vintage, like modeling and like, you know, I guess like 20s, 30s, stuff like that, like vintage sort of erotica and stuff like that. Paul Rubens was definitely like a weird, quirky guy, but a sex offender or a rapist, he certainly was not.
Well, I mean, listen, man, you're like you clearly have like a whole history of this. So like a history of knowing this guy and like knowing about this guy. I only know about like what gets brought up in the discourse, basically. You know what I mean? I was never really, you know, because again, I was never really like I knew more about PeeWee Herman from him being on Surreal Life, because remember back then Surreal Life was like this big deal. Like all like the celebrities that went away for a bit would come back in this reality show house. So I remember when he became in the part of the Surreal Life, I was like, oh shit, we're seeing the real PeeWee Herman. I wanted to see the guy outside the character, because I always found the character, like from what I saw as a kid, I always just found the character to be obnoxious, basically. You know what I mean? From like the aesthetic of it, I guess. I don't know why, but for some reason, I don't know. For some reason, I just didn't get into. I'm trying to question now, because a lot of people like if he influenced a lot of my favorite comedians, then I'm wondering why I didn't get into it. But maybe I'll check out some old episodes or something.
Yeah, the guy died this year. There's never been any sort of claims against him whatsoever. It's not like he's like there was some skeletons in the closet that came out or anything. No one has ever accused him of anything. And anyone who I know everyone's only had good things to say about the guy.
Imagine him doing his performance at Epstein's Island. Like,
I mean, there's never been any allegations Paul Rubens was a associate of Epstein either. Again, there are people who are associated with Epstein who are going through life right now unaffected by it, because there's no substantive proof behind those claims other than they associated with Epstein. All PeeWee apparently, though, because he touched himself in a adult movie theater in the 80s. He's people view him as public enemy number one or something.
So back to my wrestling like terminology for it. I'm saying that like PeeWee Herman, what he did in the early 90s, jerking off in a theater, that would be enough to finish your career, like 1, 2, 3, right? Now, if you did that in 2024, people will be like, oh my God, that's a transitional move. It's like a super kick. You're kicking out of a super kick. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's what I'm trying to say, that what to call somebody jerking off in a theater now, it would probably promote them. Like Lauren Boebert just jerked off somebody in a actual theater, actual like you know what I mean? And she's like fucking killing it right now as a performer right now.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right. Listen, if there was legit anything, I wouldn't be a PeeWee fan anymore. I have no problem throwing my faves under the bus. I don't have heroes. I have people who influence me, but those people, if they're bad people, I could drop them like a hat. I mean, there's been wrestlers that I was fans of that I don't even pay any attention to anymore. There's bands that I used to love that I don't listen to anymore. I have no problem dropping my faves if there's accusations made, even substantive accusations with no proof are enough for me. But there's never been even a single accusation against PeeWee Herman.
And I get it, man. I guess like you know what I mean. Like I guess like you're just being. I guess like just being a cog in a corrupt system. Anyways, it's like you
I mean,
assume
if you ask me, and I don't think he ever came out, but it's very clear to me, not to speculate, but in my opinion, it seems like PeeWee was at least queer in some way. Paul Rubens was queer in some way. I don't know if it was ever official. I don't know if he ever had any public relationships or anything. I don't know if he was gay or bi, or I have no idea. But it's very clear that I think, the cops in the 80s knew this. And he was a Hollywood guy, and he was an artsy guy who was known in like the Los Angeles comedy scene and the art scene. And he was an easy get. He just finished up his kid show. He was starting to make some real money off of it because it was in syndication. And airing as if it was new. Every Saturday morning, it was becoming a thing. He was ready to move on to the next stage of his career, the post Pee-wee's Playhouse career that we never got to see because there was a sting operation at an adult movie theater, and some cop was like, "Holy shit, it's PeeWee Herman touching himself. We're gonna get him and get the headlines. It's gonna be great."
No, I get you, man. I'm sorry for carrying the conversation too long about that. I wanted to like talk about politics before I go. I know this is the last call and stuff like that, so I know you've been doing it for a while. By the way, I enjoyed some of the stuff that you posted on the CES thing. Whenever you guys go to those type of things, I look at it, I'm like, how can anyone believe that there's not advanced technology? Like, even though like what you see at those events, I feel like there's like 10 times more advanced stuff. And so like I always wonder why when people like see that kind of stuff, people question like when I say like something like, well, I think that there's like technology that's way more advanced. Like, and people act like it's impossible. But the stuff that I saw you posting about, it's like that looks really like advanced future shit. By the way, you know what I mean?
Right. I mean, a lot of stuff there is like they're showing you what they can do. It's nowhere near consumer, like mass production or things that can be produced in quantity. It's nowhere near the pricing range that people can pay for. Like I got to see this TCL 115-inch television, and I was like, oh, is this just for like CES, or is this something that's gonna be sold? Because you never know at CES. A lot of stuff is not ready to be sold, and they're like, no, we're gonna sell this. And I was like, oh, how much is this 115-inch TV gonna go for? And I was expecting them to say like $5,000, $6,000. They're like, oh, around $20,000. And I was like,
holy shit.
I was like, what?
No, that's not. Wait, did you? So because you're in the media, are you allowed getting it for free and all that? Is that why you got?
Oh no, we don't get that stuff. We don't get a $20,000 TV for free. I think, they sometimes we get a product that's maybe a few $100s max to review, and they let us just like they don't care to get it shipped back or whatever, or they want us to like continue to use it. But like even things that are like for example, like when the new iPhone comes out, I'm not the one who usually reviews that, but like Apple sends us the phone, and they want you to send it back when you're done reviewing it. You don't get to keep it.
I understand, but I was talking about the event itself. Like, were you there because like you're part of media? Like, was it an open event?
I was there. No, I was there as media. I was there as a Mashable reporter. And I was covering the different things. I wrote about some of the announcements from like Samsung. And then I got to one cool thing I saw that I really liked that there's a video up on Mashable that I hosted where I talk about it. And I actually liked it, but it's still one of those products that's too much money. It's a 27-inch TV, completely wireless. Now, when you hear wireless, you think, oh, okay, you still need the power cord to plug it into the wall so it powers up. Wireless usually means when it comes to TVs that you can stream content to it, but it still needs the wire. No, this is a battery-powered 27-inch 4K TV that you can stick to the wall anywhere, like to a window, to your wall. No, you don't need to set up you need to nail the thing into the wall, I forgot the word I'm looking for, but you don't need to do any of that. It has a battery powered suction system on the back where you hold it up to the wall. It scans for a surface to grab onto. And when you hold it up to the wall, it sees the wall or it sees the window and it grabs onto the window and it stays there. And according to them, it could stay up there without being charged for a full month. And I was like, that's awesome. Because like you could basically have a TV that you can move into whatever room you're in. Like say you want to go to the kitchen if you have a kitchen. I don't have a kitchen that I could do that with. I live in a New York City apartment. But if you have a nice kitchen, you could bring the TV into the kitchen and not have to buy a kitchen for the TV for the kitchen. If you want to like do a cooking tutorial or whatever. Or if, you don't need that many TVs in your house because you're just one person, you could bring the TV around to different rooms.
But then how would you connect your PlayStation and all that stuff to it then?
So they said gaming is not good for it right now because basically there's a box that you do connect to, like you do plug the box, and like the TV itself is completely wireless, but there's a separate box that you plug in, and that box is where you connect everything, and it wirelessly streams everything to the TV. So you can you can technically connect your game console to the box, and it streams wirelessly to the TV. But they said that there is a lag that doesn't affect live TV or streaming services. But for video games, that lag would affect what you see and what the control, like what you're doing in the control. So that's not there. Okay. So that's not there yet. But I did think the TV was really nice.
I enjoy some of the stuff that you posted, man. What the call? It was a pretty. Thing is, it goes beyond my ability to it just scares me because I don't know how I'm gonna survive in the future with all this, and when you have all these products coming out and all that, and it's like you feel left out and all that, and like you're never gonna. I'm not gonna make that much money unless I come into some money or something like that. But you know what I mean? It just it kind of freaks me out. But let me ask you this for 2024.
Oh wait, before you get to that, really quick, I didn't get to finish my thing on that TV.
Oh, my bad.
But the negative about that TV was, and this is a TV that's in production, people could buy it. It's a 27-inch TV. No matter what else it can do. Could you add a few $100s for the wireless and the other cool things? Sure, but it's a $2,000 27-inch TV. That to me is that's not reachable for consumers. I can see a consumer paying $2,000 for a big ass TV that they're going to watch their football games on when they invite friends over or whatever. But I think most people are not going to pay $2,000 for a 27-inch TV, no matter what bonus stuff it can do. They need to get it down to $700-800 before people consider it for most homes. You know what I mean? But that's why I brought that up as an example. Cool products that are just not there yet in terms of mass consumption for consumers. But go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, I didn't want to hold you up any longer. So I just wanted to just go over quickly, for 2024, right, with this whole Iowa caucus type of deal. Are you noticing? I don't know, man. To me, listen, I understand. With the current stuff, right? I always knew, even if you advocated for Biden on the surface by principle, I knew the same shit systemically is going down, right? So I'm not even saying this is not oh my god, I'm fear mongering over. I feel what's so sad about this is the mainstream media's message of fear mongering over Trump in the future. It's probably gonna age a lot better than what some of the alt media figures the Glenn Greenwalds of the world are saying currently. And the reason why it can fool people, because currently if you're buying under this notion that Biden has this again the system promotes that these people have all this power, so of course people are going to think, hey, Biden, call for a ceasefire. But because he's not doing shit, what's it called, people are now going to feel well, you fearmonger over Trump and he didn't do shit, and the worst shit's happening under Biden now, so why not vote for Trump? And I just feel he's the final face of fascism, even though it's played out by saying it. Because if you fearmonger over Trump, you sound like a fucking Democrat who doesn't want to hold Biden accountable. I'm not for any fucking neoliberal, you know what I mean? I just don't want to buy into this false notion that Trump is going to be a savior. You know what I mean? It's just scary how many more people are now going in that direction. It feels like Michael Moore is even going that direction. It feels like
Michael Moore, what did he say? I missed what Michael Moore said.
Well, it's not what he said. He basically said in the end of the clip, he says Trump is not going to do anything for you. But when he starts painting a picture like this is why regular working people love Trump and all that kind of stuff, all these right wingers have been like, if you look up Michael Moore Trump, you'll see a bunch of blue check marks like promoting Michael Moore's and going, this is a phenomenal ad by Michael Moore for Donald Trump, even though in the end of the clip, Michael Moore says,
right. I mean, I think that whole idea is really dumb. The idea that like, do working class people like Trump? Sure. Right-wing working class people like Trump. Why do they like Trump? It's not because they're working class. It's because they're right-wingers. They just happen to also be working class. Same could be said for the other way, too. There's working class Democrats who like that because they're liberals. They're liberal working class people. The reason they like Democrats is because they're liberal, not so much because they're working class. You know, are there people who do like certain parties because they're working class? Sure, I'm sure they exist, but that's not the main group of people. Like right-wing working class people like Trump, sure, because they like the right-wing stuff.
No, I mean, the thing is like I just find that like a lot more people who just say they're on the left kind of go in that direction. Like and this is not like me defending, because again, whenever like you go at Trump, automatically people think you're defending Biden or whatever, or like for example, like I don't like some of the stuff that Trudeau does, right? But I'm not gonna like I know like the reason why is I have a weird perspective on politics where I look at it like pro wrestling, where like the billionaire fundamentalists are the ones that organize like the stuff that's happened, and you just have your world champions. And so while Biden is not the best world champion, obviously, what's it called? Like you're gonna be so mad at like you're mad at John Cena basically for not like not doing shit. CM Punk promises he's gonna change the title for that spinner belt. He doesn't do it. You know who comes in to change the title? The Rock. So The Rock is going to be. That's my question. Do you think The Rock is going to like how crazy will it be? It will be Trump versus The Rock on a debate stage. Like do you not understand how whack we are as a society if this is where our politics are now, bro?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the Rock is going to run for president, but I see what you're saying. Yes.
Hold on. Have you not noticed what he's been doing lately? Like I always call this predictive programming, where like you show something on screen and then it kind of manifests in real life. Between his show, The Young Rock, talking about running for president, and then his promo against Jinder Mahal when he returned recently, they made Jinder cut a fucking 80s level promo about American people, and The Rock came out and he goes, "You don't say that about America. America is this." Dude, it feels like he's practicing for a presidential run. Like people don't think, because again, wrestling, you can manufacture consent and manipulate reaction. That's like the perfect practicing ground before you go into politics. Hence why Donald Trump is like, did you see Donald Trump giving Kane props at one of his like speeches?
What was that last thing you said?
Did you hear Trump like talking about, he was giving props to Glenn Jacobs, who's at one of his speeches?
Oh, I did see that, right.
He's like talking about the Undertaker. Like, dude, wrestling is seeping into this shit so much so. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. Do you follow MMA as well or no? You don't follow MMA, do you?
A little bit. Not too much though.
Have you been noticing this like they're like the promotions now? Like there's a guy named Shane Strickland who like just does like anti-LGBTQ stuff all the time, and it's like to me it's like people are mad about him, but it's like if the president of the UFC, whatever, people who own it are aligned with Trump and they're bringing Tucker Carlson and Trump to these events, it's like, to me it feels like that's the agenda. Like I don't know if there's any left wing UFC fighter, but I doubt that they would be allowed to say free Palestine at a fucking press conference. Yet these
Well,
guys
the issue with UFC specifically is that these fighters are allowed to say whatever they want because Dana White's in charge there. Dana White's a Trump supporter. I mean, he implicitly endorses whatever they're saying by just letting them say it without any sort of consequences. You can't do that in most other sports because that wouldn't fly. That wouldn't fly. The NFL, NBA, MLB, they wouldn't let you say that type of stuff. Their players say that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, it's just, dude, I'm not excited for 2024, man. But like, do you anticipate like an election even happening, or do you think that do you think that like we're so far gone that like we won't even make it to an election?
No,
or do you
there'll be an election. I mean, listen. Before October, I really thought, truthfully, based on everything I was seeing, that Biden was going to pull it out. He was going to pull it off. I don't feel that. I don't feel that way anymore.
Yeah, I know.
I think it's very likely, unless something changes. Very likely. Like if nothing significant happens between now and November, and there's a lot of time for something significant to happen, but if nothing significant changes as of right now, Trump is going to win. That's truly what I think. And I'm someone who before October thought that would be much closer than 2020, but Biden would win.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think that anymore.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. But the thing is like, what drives me fucking crazy is that like would you think that like would like another, because again like they're fear mongering over another pandemic, and I don't know if that's gonna happen, but could you see something like that happening where like a pandemic happens? Because if a pandemic happens and people don't want to live like how it was 4 years ago now, or yeah, 4 years ago at this point, holy shit, with the cold, like I feel like there would be more pushback over any type of like mandates or anything like that. So to me, like it feels like something like that could end up happening with the way that they're. Again, I never know when something is gonna be a permanent hit with
I don't know. I think what worked against Trump was that he was the president during COVID, and he handled it horribly. Biden would have to make if there was another pandemic, which I don't foresee happening so soon. But if there was another pandemic this year, it would be it's much harder for the current president, the incumbent, to come out looking good because they would do everything perfect. Like Trump fucked it up so bad that he lost really badly to Biden in 2020. Biden would just have to be relatively bad on it, and it would go against him, and Trump would be seen as like, oh, people would literally say, regardless of what happened with Trump in charge during COVID in 2020, people would literally say, Biden's the president now, he's handling this bad, let's try something else, because that's how people think when they go into the voting booth. It is ridiculous in some ways, but that's just the nature of it.
That's cool, man. And one last thing. Listen, man. Because I like, obviously I'm supporting for Palestinians, right? And one thing in the 2010s that kind of swayed me a little bit, where now I'm kind of iffy about it, and maybe because you are more smart about this kind of stuff, right? Like, for example, like if I don't support what US, UK, or Israel is doing to Palestinians, right? Does that automatically mean that I have to now protect act like Iran is 100% good guys, or do I lose leftist credibility if I'm not pro Houthi? You know what I mean? Like, even though I don't support Israel. You know what I mean?
If you're not sig hailing every night, then what kind of lefty do you think you? I mean, I don't think there are. I don't think there's many state actors that are completely bad or good. There's a lot of gray area there. I mean, you can be supportive of. I think other countries or groups that are supportive of Palestine without endorsing everything they're about. For example, I mean, I get what the Houthis are doing. And as far as I've seen, it's been purely disruptive. I don't see that they've killed anybody. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm fully supportive of what they're doing, but I'm not fully against it either. I think this is how they're showing their support for Palestine. They're trying to put pressure to stop what's going on in Gaza, and that's their way. That's their method of doing it.
I don't know. I had to I had to check to again. If this was the 2010s, I would have automatically, because again, listen, man, being in the 2010s, I ended up like going, okay, well, I don't think Assad is bad because the U.S. said. I don't think Kim Jong Un is bad because the U.S. is lying about like horrible things, whatever they've done. And I felt like in the 2010s, that was kind of mentality, like, oh, what has Putin done that the U.S. hasn't done, right? And I don't want to be in that mindset. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be for any fundamentalist. It doesn't matter. The thing is, like, I can't criticize, like, let's say Russia government or Iranian government or a Chinese government unless, like, I talk to somebody in the Western world that wants me to bow down to the U.S. empire. And I don't, you know what I mean? Like I'm not supportive of the U.S. empire and their fundamentalism that has ruined a lot of fucking shit. Like, you know what I mean? I always believe that the fundamentalists in general from all these countries are all aligned together anyways, and because the innocent people are the ones that get fucked over the most from all these countries. Like, I don't hate Russian people, I don't hate Iranian people, I don't hate, you know, Pakistani people. I'm Pakistani, whatever, but like I don't have to like the government. And I find that like if you criticize other governments, like you're not pure enough in like the leftist space sometimes. Like for certain people who pretend to be leftist, but you know they're moving more to the right way, if that makes sense.
Right. Say it one more time so I get it. I want to make sure I get exactly what you're saying.
No, like for example, like I just don't want to like I don't want to just like automatically go, oh, because the U.S. is bad, that means I have to support other bad people, because in 2010s that would be my motto. In the sense
right.
that,
No,
like,
I mean, U.S. could be bad and you don't have to support other people just because reflectively they are U.S. bad as well. I mean,
well, no, I'm saying that if like for example, if I went on like say a mainstream media network, right, and I want to talk about that I think the Chinese government is kind of fundamentalist or the Russian government's fundamentalist, I would have to then bow down and pretend the U.S. has never done anything evil at all. And I'd be like, yeah, pro-U.S. That's why I don't like talking about other fundamentalist governments with people who are like Western, because they normally have to always downplay what America has done. And like, you know what I mean? And then if you want to talk about what America's done, you have to automatically, I feel you have to automatically defend like the Kim Jong-uns or the Putin.
Oh, right. No, that's, I mean, listen, Kim Jong-un and the North Korean dictatorship, bad. That's very simple. But I mean, obviously the people of North Korea are completely innocent in the matter. Same with like more relevant Russia and how Americans, way too many Americans view Russians. Like, it's pretty disgusting, honestly. There's real,
it is.
There's like real like Russophobia, whatever it's called, the Russophobia in this country. Like the way the way all these organizations so easily like banned Russians from like partaking in certain like world events. Like, okay, I get like the Olympics because Russia is the country that they are specifically representing and it's a governmental body, just, you know, so fine. But like there have been like things that like actual solo Russian people have been banned from participating in.
Yeah, that's stupid.
That's just ridiculous. Putin bad. Russian people, regardless of whether they support the Kremlin or not, they're also not responsible. Like, exactly. I that's the thing here. Like, it's very simple in terms of like picking who is responsible or not, because it's people in power. That's why I disagree with people who think like all the people who were attacked on October 7th in Israel all are because they were settlers or were open game or whatever. I disagree with that too. Civilians are innocent parties. Now I think the soldiers is a different story. Like the idea of soldiers, that's a different story. This is an occupation. This is war. The hostages in terms of prisoners of war, that's different. But innocent civilians, regardless of what their beliefs are innocent civilians. And so
I get you, man.
And at the same time, I also understand how Hamas came to be, and that there are members, and Hamas is also a governmental body, and it's also a resistance movement, and it is also and they partook in a terrorist act, but also I understand that we're dealing with a situation of 75 years, and Hamas, there are many members of Hamas who have been a part of, who've been victimized by what's been happening and have lost parents and have been orphaned. And that's what led them to join Hamas or partake in activities like this. Like, people have to understand the entire situation. It doesn't mean that every specific act is good or agreeable, but you also have to look at the big picture at all these situations and scenarios.
See, the one thing that I'm worried about, bro, and is that purpose. Like, I never seen a time where like there's so many war crimes and all this shit committed, right? And not only that, it's like purposeful people who like the celebrities and the fucking politicians. They're gaslighting people so much. Like, not only are you you're seeing all this shit go down, but they're gaslighting people to become more reactionary, so that when you find out that fundamentalist right wing who want to do anti-Semitic shit for the purpose of anti-Semitism, there's going to be a bunch of people that are not going to care because they've been gaslit by the super pro-Israel type who don't care about, those people don't care about Jewish people at all whatsoever, because they do it on purpose so that when you hear that there's anti-Semitism, you won't give a shit about anti-Semitism because they're not even recognizing a Palestinian life. You know what I mean? Because people are so fucking destroyed by that. And a lot of the Stern Show like trolls, whatever, they would always push me like to become more radical by calling me a terrorist. And if I said one thing about Howard Stern being Jewish, it would be like, oh, you committed a bigger offense. But it's like all of you are telling me to go blow myself up and trying to push me to become more of a reactionary. And I say one thing, and that's been one thing where I've tried not to become a reactionary, instead of, like, you know what I mean, like nobody cares about Muslim pain and all that kind of stuff. I don't want to become a reactionary where I'm hating regular Jewish people who have nothing to do with this because they don't co-sign what the government's doing, if that makes sense.
Oh, right. I mean, I think it's sort of silly to even pay attention to, like, to even focus on like regular sort of people involved in it. Like, people have opinions. You could disagree with them. They get really stupid, bad opinions. But I mean, at the end of the day, what does their opinion, an individual's opinion matter? Nothing. Like someone's opinion doesn't have some sort of hand on a lever of power. It doesn't mean shit to people in Gaza. Who cares?
Well, no. What I mean by people with bad faith acting, I'm talking about like like Michael Rappaport and Amy Schumer or Sarah Silverman.
Oh, well, they're a little bit different. Like, I don't think. Again, I think. I think the amount of time spent on them is a little bit too much because
it is.
But at the same time, they are not the same as like a powerless everyday person.
Exactly.
Their opinion does sway people, being that they are celebrities with many, many followers and fans. So
no, I think that's who I'm referencing when I say those are the bad faith actors that I feel don't care about regular Jewish people, but they'll cry about anti-Semitism while genocide's happening. That will make people go, if this is what like there's people that look at celebrities like the representatives of all people. So if people are looking at Sarah Silverman or Michael Rappaport as like the be all end all of celebrities that seem like regular people, people will be like, oh, I guess all Jewish people think like them, whatever. And that's what I'm worried about. Where like 10 years ago, that would make me 10 times more reactionary based off what these celebrities are saying. I would be like, well, you know what? Fuck all of them too. Basically, that's why I'm saying that being dumbed down like that like can make you reactionary, and I don't want to become a reactionary. Like I condemn what goes on.
Oh, right. I mean, you don't have to be a reactionary. Like you don't need to have strong feeling for any side or any in terms of like, you know, back to the beginning. Like you don't have to specifically be like, I support the Houthis. You could just understand what they're doing and look at it in the context of what's going on and just be like, okay, what they're doing, I think, even if I don't agree with it, I don't think that we should be bombing Yemen over it.
Yeah, exactly. But no, that's cool, bro. You're giving me like over 40 minutes.
I'm looking right now, like, and I know people are gonna have issue with certain things here, and I saw someone be like, bring up that the Houthis, like, one of their slogans is like, "Death to Jews" or whatever. But I mean, I'm not like declaring my support for the Houthis, and B, like, is it that surprising that a Yemeni tribe is going to have a negative view of people, of people that they have zero real world sort of interactions with, and that their complete understanding about is seeing the IDF and other people weaponizing the Jewish Star of David to bomb the shit out of their fellow Arabs?
Exactly.
Like we need to step outside of our bubble. Like it's very simple to say with our specific Western views, Western education, complete understanding of, you know, I guess what Germany did in the 1930s and 40s to the Jewish people in Nazi Germany, for us to have a very different view of this than an 18-year-old Yemeni guy who his complete experience with Jewish people is seeing an IDF soldier fucking lay the Israeli flag in the middle of completely destroyed Gaza City. I mean, right. That doesn't mean you need to agree with what they're saying, but you need to understand the context of it. At the same time, I think of that Palestinian poet who was killed in November, Rafat. He was all over Twitter. He said that he thought all Jewish people were like that, were like the IDF and hated him and Palestinians and Muslims. And it wasn't until he was able to leave Gaza, he called it his Malcolm X moment, where he realized that there are tons of anti-Zionist Jewish people who are on his side. And he completely changed his worldview because he didn't have that experience. As someone who was born and lived his entire life in Gaza and knew nothing about Jewish people other than what the state of Israel was doing to him and his family. I mean, how do you, like, you can't view a guy like that the same as like fucking Hitler. It's just a completely different thing. And I say this as an ethnic Jew myself. Like, how do you expect this from a people who have no experience of a certain, sure, they're prejudice, or you call it racist or xenophobic, whatever you want to call it, fine. But what more do you expect from a people who that's their entire experience? If they don't change their views after they see that there's more and get educated and things like that, then you can question who they really are. But if they have that open experience and then how can you fault them for those views? I mean, their entire worldview on those on that specific thing was that.
No, I got you, man. And listen, bro. I don't want to go through your time. Thanks for talking to me for like over 40 minutes and shit, man. I hopefully I always feel like I wasted your time sometimes, but sometimes I feel like I need this outlet to come on and ask somebody who's like a left person like about certain things, because I feel like you haven't crossed over as bad as like TYT or whatever. You know what I mean? So I always feel like I get some answers from like from like a rational perspective, because sometimes my mind goes in reactionary ways from like the old time, the way that I used to function before. You know what I mean? I used to be very propagandized a lot, my worldview, because of how I was treated and shit. So I always appreciate talking to you, man. Thanks for having me on. Peace out, brother.
Always a pleasure, Hansi. I'll take one more call. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
What the heck? Hello?
Hello? Hey, who's this?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
What in the... Okay, I can't hear you, so I'm just going to talk.
All right, really quick, and I'll just hang up when I think you're
questions,
done.
All right?
Sure, okay. Is this Cameron?
Hey, is this Matt?
Yeah, I said the same thing.
Nod your head. I heard you talking about some beef that you had. You said a lot of really suspicious things today.
Did I?
But the one I want to hone in on is you said that you've dropped some kind of some of your favorite WWF wrestlers because of the things they've done, right?
Yes.
Nod your head. I can't hear you.
Yes.
Yeah, the Skype isn't working, so I can't hear you. But oh, did I say this is Cameron from Canada?
You did not, but I know it is now.
Yeah, this is Cameron Robson from Canada.
This is quite the call. Oh, I guess if you're viewing me through Skype, I can type to you. Hold on. I
agree.
Type to you.
You would see me nodding. Yeah, this is fun. Do this. I can type. Matt's doing a thing where he can type me.
You talk to me, and I will type and answer you.
Oh, okay. And I will type and answer you. This is very good.
This is very good. This is wonderful.
I was suspicious that
TV.
I think I know the WWF person you're talking about. Matt says this is wonderful TV. I love being a television star on screen with Matt right now. But let me say yes or no, and also nod yes or no, but in the opposite direction of what the answer is.
Okay.
So try and do that at once. This is good for your muscles and stuff. Do you think that I know who the WWF wrestler is?
One or two of them.
No, not yes
maybe.
For no, and type correct for yes. All right. One or two of them, you say. That's
there's a few though, off the top of my head.
Okay, well, because you mentioned this one quite recently.
Okay.
You know, as recently as maybe 6 months ago.
Okay.
On the Majority Report channel.
Okay.
Starring Bradley Oslop.
Okay.
Was it Doink the Clown?
No, it was not Doink the Clown. No, hold on, let me type. No, not Doink.
It's not Doink. So
No.
Doink. Okay, everyone. Doink is not canceled.
I mean,
Doink
here's
the
one.
Clown,
Here's one.
Still good.
I mean, one of them is Hulk Hogan. I was a fan of Hulk.
Hulk Hogan's canceled now for what?
Being
the
a
Hulkster?
huge. Racist.
Okay, but if he was a regular-sized racist, you wouldn't like him. You'd only dislike him because he's a huge racist.
There was that video where he used the N-word repeatedly because his daughter was, I think, dating or hooking up.
I don't know about
with
this.
a black guy.
I mean, he's a big guy, but yeah, I don't watch videos like that, man. I don't know what to say.
It was a leaked video, part of the whole Gawk. Why am I
so up in this Doink the Clown shit? Oh, sorry for demonetizing you.
And here's another one that I was canceled. It's someone I liked, but of course, Chris Benoit is one of them.
Benoit, yeah.
Yeah, that's an obvious one,
Balls.
right?
Yeah, oh damn, I had a second thing to ask you about. Oh, who were those two men in blue jackets who were accosting you that are on your I tried to watch your show and there's like a couple guys or people, I don't know.
What?
You're being like you've been getting involved in like the mafia, I've heard?
Oh, leftist mafia? They weren't wearing blue jackets though.
I know you're an Italian American
leftist mafia,
Catholic, Jewish, Spaniard, white man, or whatever you got going on over there.
All right, I think I think this has.
You want to get involved with these people.
Has run its course now, Cameron. We'll have to try a call again another time.
I just was checking to.
It's great to hear from you, though.
Doink was still cool, and that's all. Well, I'll get out of your hair.
The original Doink is dead, though. I don't know if you know this.
With you as well. Oh no, Doink is dead.
the original.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. Matt Bourne was the original Doink. Dork, I almost said. Doink. Kowalski, really quick. We'll do 5 minutes. Go ahead. Call back in. I want to hear Kowalski. Kowalski says, I think you're wrong on Trump. Want to discuss. We'll do a quick one here to close it up. That way I get close to 4 hours for the big return show of the year. Hey!
Bonjour.
How you doing, Kowalski?
Not too bad. So I caught your Trump take. And
you think I'm dead wrong.
I do. I don't think we're dealing with the same person from 2016 and 2020. Solely because Trump has so much baggage right now. I think this is one of those situations where any Republican but Trump could probably beat Biden. And
I agree with that. I agree that the best case scenario for Biden is Trump. But as of right now, Trump has the edge on him.
I don't
that
think
means
he does.
that means that Biden can still turn it around. Which I don't think he could do if it was any of the other candidates.
I don't think Biden is down as far as a lot of people might think, just given the kind of candidate Trump is. Because
in terms of the Electoral College, he certainly is, and that's all that matters.
I don't like when I look at a lot of the stuff from the midterms, that showed us just how toxic a lot of the independents are with the Republican base right now, especially the Trump candidates. So when I look at this, like, everybody can say economic anxiety all they like, but the economy is not doing that bad for most people. Like, when you really look at it, and if you look at a lot of the establishment, like the big money donors for the Republican Party, they are not back up at all. Like, the Koch brothers are throwing everything they have at Nikki Haley, hoping for a 2028 candidate. And it's because the business community knows there's nothing to like threaten them from Biden. So all of that money won't be going against Biden come the general. You also can look at the establishment of the like Pentagon and the State Department. They despised Trump, and half of them blame him for basically weakening NATO to allow Russia to do this because nobody wanted to be in Europe. They all want to be in the West Pacific playing World War II for some godforsaken reason. But Trump has been nothing but like a national security risk because he kept dishing out classified information on Twitter, which is how a lot of the Iranians found out that we were spying on them so well because he just posted pictures up. And that really did anger a lot of the establishment in these like big institutions. So
sure, but I don't think that's going to translate for voters.
And a lot of Trump supporters are just dead. He's not picking up young people, and his guys have been taking huge attrition.
But
like,
he doesn't necessarily have to if Biden doesn't turn out young people.
Again, though, like for what it's worth, like DSA is still going to be pulling a lot of people out, and you're there. Your options are what? Marianne Williams. If you're in a swing state, you understand like what the issue is, and you're just going to hold your nose and you're going to check that box. And not only that, like as of right now, most of the polls, when they look at people who genuinely are undecided voters, they pretty much never work. And just going off the midterm, Democrats had about 3/4 of them. Even if they lose half that, a 50-50 split of moderates, as they like to call themselves, still gives the Democrats the wins, even in the swing states. Like, I'm sorry, even the people in Michigan, as horrible as our actions have been in Gaza, I still don't think they're going to lose the Arab vote there because all of them are going to turn out for the local election. And when you're there, it's a swing state and it's coming down to the general and you're seeing Trump there. And it's just going to remind them, oh, yeah, this was the guy who really did not care about us dying in 2020.
Yeah,
and
but on this issue, they may very well view no difference between Biden and Trump. And to be honest, I mean, I do think there is there's a difference in what the potential could be. But in terms of actions, there'd be no real difference as what we've seen so far. And what I mean by what the potential could be is I think a Trump administration would fully endorse and even encourage Israel to reoccupy Gaza and settle there. Whereas I don't think the Biden administration will do that. But in terms of what we've seen so far, in terms of the bombardment and bombings, there's no real difference.
That's what I mean, though. When it comes to the foreign policy stuff, there is no difference. So if you're making a cynical vote, you have to ask yourself, what is Trump going to do different on the domestic front? He will cut taxes more. This will hurt you. It will lead to more wealth inequality. He will definitely be worse on the environment. There has been marginal, and I mean marginal successes with Biden on that, which when it comes down to it, he can run on that. And I mean, we know for a fact, if the Republicans get in there again, they get another Supreme Court justice or their old guys all retire and he just gets to pack the court again. Once it comes down to the wire, this stuff is going to mean a lot to people. And it's the closest equivalent I could think of is when people in the South would vote for Democrats knowing that they upheld segregation, but also knowing it was your best chance at getting any type of social reforms through. As brutal as that is, as like toxic as this two-party system is, there's just not the energy behind Trump this go around, and he just sounds so stupid when he talks.
But I don't know, man. I mean, listen, I'm not saying there's not going to be people who take that into consideration. Obviously, there will be, but the question is, just how many though? How many will take that into that consideration? How many are going to go into the go to the voter booth and actually think that way? how many will not care about any sort of differences between them all, between the two, because what Biden has endorsed in Gaza is just too much for them, and so they decide just to sit it out. They just can't vote for him. Again, not everyone will do that. The question is there a significant enough number of people who will do that? And I just honestly don't think we know. And again, I don't know who's going to win right now, but between the two of them, I think Trump is looking, if you'd rather be either Biden or Trump in terms of the winning person right now in this moment in time, I think as of January 18th, 2024, I'd rather be Trump in terms of how things are looking.
That is true. Like, I do agree if the election was today, but we also really haven't seen any of the campaigning that is going to be necessary in the summer.
Right.
To
That's
create
what,
the
but that's sort of what I'm saying though, and then I think that's where we agree. Like, I think that's why I say every single time, like, it's not too late for Biden to do a 180 on what's going on in his endorsement of and support financially of what Israel is doing in Gaza. It's not too late. Obviously, from the standpoint of people would no longer be dying. I mean, yes, more than 20,000 people have already been killed in Gaza, but I obviously support taking actions that stop that so no more people die.
Yeah,
and I think he would get support from doing that. I mean, it's not forgiveness. I think his legacy is forever tarnished here, and I think he's a scumbag, honestly. But it's not too late for him to do the right thing going forward.
Oh, I agree 100%. He needs to change course on that. Like, even going off of like a cynical take from like an American empire perspective, this doesn't help us at all.
It doesn't. It only hurts us. It only hurts us completely. Even if you're America first, is support of Israel in its decimation of Gaza and its wanton killing of innocent civilians is the most the opposite of what we want for our own well-being. Period.
Even if
I don't care about that. I care about the people, the innocent lives in Gaza. Anything else is secondary. But if you're someone who's selfish and only cares about USA and Americans, this is also not working in your favor.
Yeah, that's the other point that I was going to say. Like, there is no version of this where Egypt doesn't despise us for allowing Israel to do this, because at some point Egypt is going to be taking in a ton of refugees just because the soil and water in half of the Gaza Strip now is ruined.
Oh, there's no scenario where the entire world doesn't look at us differently, especially the entirety of the Middle East and like North Africa, if not the entire continent of Africa. Yeah, I mean, we look. I mean, even most European nations, minus like what Germany
and
the Brits, think we are fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, there's like, I'm not even sure historically what you can compare this to, because
it's always good when you're on Germany's side in a major conflict.
Especially one that involves ethnic cleansing.
Right. Historically, they've always been on the right side of that.
Yeah, but I personally do not know if Trump would have handled this situation worse or better. Personally, I think it would have been worse in trying to commit U.S. forces to directly assisting, because I think his people want war with Iran.
I think what happens is exactly what happens. I don't know if it would be worse in terms of how it played out, because I think the pressure for U.S. boots on the ground would be too much for him. But I don't think they'd be the same in the aftermath, whenever that might be. I think he would fully support and even encourage immediate settlements and a complete displacement of all Palestinian Gazans. I don't think the Biden administration will support that. They've been quite adamant about that being something they wouldn't support. But at the same time, what if Israel does that? What the fuck is Biden going to do? Is he actually going to do something to make them stop? Or well, that's the question. Or will he just go, no, we don't support that, don't do that, and do nothing and continue to fund them? That's the real question. Really, that's the question. That's a question for the future. I'm sure the Gazans aren't thinking about that right now as bombs are dropping on their heads. But, when that time comes, what will they show to be different from the Trump administration? Because when it comes down to it, I don't care if there is no difference between Trump going, yeah, settle Gaza, and then Biden going, no, don't do that, but then completely funding Israel as they do settle Gaza. To me, there's no difference then. Empty words are nothing. It's the same thing. It's the same guy then.
That's also kind of my whole thing with Gaza being what it is. Like in the context of just this election, that means there is no difference when that point comes up. So you have to look at the other points. And when other people look at other issues, I just do not see Trump pulling off a win, especially with the amount of hate that he has from like a good chunk of the country that knows what happened on January 6th, the fact he's in all these court proceedings. There's nowhere left for Biden to drop, and Trump can keep just imploding, is my point.
I don't know. I think
I'm not saying it's impossible.
Never underestimate Americans and their belief that if something in the moment isn't going the way they want, then just trying something different, whatever that different may be, doesn't matter. Just trying something different. Compared to that, what's the current in that moment? We've seen that consistently. They don't learn their lesson. Don't like the current economy under Democrat? I will vote Republican. Oh, don't like current economy over Republican? I will vote Democrat. People do that, and it's the most nonsensical thing. But that's how some American voters go into that voting booth. And there is a benefit. There's a benefit to being an incumbent in some ways, and then there's a benefit to being the challenger in other ways. We'll see what benefit is the more beneficial one come November. But as of right now, if the election was right now today, I would and I wanted to win. That is not who I agree with, but if I was going to pick the winning candidate, I would much rather be Trump right now than Biden. And it sucks to say so as someone who does not want Trump to be president. But also, this isn't like a case of like, a certain subsection didn't get everything they wanted or everything's not perfect and they're throwing a tantrum. I think those are ridiculous arguments to begin with. When people, push their candidate or push the incumbent or whatever, I fully support when they do that. But nothing is more ridiculous than making that argument when this is a 110% self-inflicted wound. This isn't like, the president can only do so much and people are asking for policy that needs to go through Congress and the Congress isn't there to enact that policy. This isn't that at all. The issue hurting Biden right now is 100% something Biden controls. And it's his own fault because he's refusing to change course because this is who he is and this is what he supports. And this is fully on him, 100%.
Yeah, I do agree with that. It is. Yeah, there's not really much more you can say on that. We'll
right. Because that's the case. Like usually the argument is, the president can't do this or that. He needs congressional approval. And listen, all right, that's the argument. And I see the people, and I'm one of those people who, if you push the president could push Congress and he may not get what he wants, but certainly be more forceful to try to get what he wants. I get that argument. But then I also get the argument that, he's not a dictator and he can't just make it happen. This is something that he
Well,
can
I
just
mean,
make
just
happen.
like a basic thing the president could do right now is pull the carrier group away from Israel. Right now, we know Israel is prodding at the God, not the Houthis, they're Hezbollah, because they want to expand the conflict to keep America around, because they know that our Navy could assist them in destroying most of the missiles that come through. If we just backed off, they can't prod their neighbors because Israel would get a bloody nose, like a very bloody nose, because their army is terrible. One of the reasons why Israel is going with this route is because its army is so incapable and so incompetent that all they can do is rely on technology, fire things from abroad, go in planes, because they're not the United States. They don't have the Marines. They don't have the army. They don't have soldiers who are trained to do this.
This is also what happens when you force every single citizen to serve in the military. Conscription gets you this. I mean, obviously, I'm always also wary of people who are like gung ho to join the military to kill people. But at the same time, you want people who understand the role and want to do what they can to responsibly take up that position. I think what you're seeing in the IDF are you get a combination of those bloodthirsty maniacs and then people who have no idea what they're doing because they were conscripted.
I think it's pretty telling how things are going for the IDF ground forces, that they're not releasing a bunch of videos that show them in successful maneuvers through city blocks.
Hamas releases way more successful videos than they do. I mean, all I see from Israel is the stuff being posted on TikTok of them like sniffing Palestinian women's bras and shit. The weirdest imaginable stuff. They really aren't doing themselves. I mean, their actions aren't doing themselves any favors, but in terms of even pumping out propaganda, their own propaganda makes them look like deranged maniacs, honestly. Like, I think the stuff that you see out there is really gross and despicable. And that's beyond even like, I'm not even just talking about the killing, which in itself is like obviously gross and despicable, but like even the actions of them, like there was that video of them breaking open a safe from some family's home to steal what was ever in there. Them walking away with like jewelry and like women's clothing and like going through people's personal belongings that clearly have no connection to anything that they're claiming to be there for in terms of Hamas.
Yeah, but also, not to keep going with some more downer stuff, but have you been following any of the conflicts that are likely to spark off in Ethiopia lately?
I have not been fully following it, but I have been. I've heard about it. It's with who are they? Go ahead, tell me.
Well, the Ethiopian president has said that they want a seaport, which could mean a conflict with Eritrea. But now one of the largest ethnic groups in the country might be teaming up with some of the Somali ethnic groups, which could bring Somalia into the conflict.
Right.
Some of its neighbors.
That's what yes.
It could be a massive regional conflict. And one of the things that was helping to keep that down was the relatively stable flow of fuel and food into the region, which has been disrupted because of what is happening in Yemen. So all of this stuff keeps folding in on itself, and the whole area is actually down on food shipments because of the war in Ukraine. It just seems like there's a lot of bushfires popping up right now.
All right.
So I think people might need to brace themselves for a lot of human tragedy. Also, we might be looking at the hottest year on record, so we could be seeing refugee crises
what are you
just
talking
everywhere.
about? Hold on. What are you talking about, Kowalski? We just had snow in New York City.
Yeah, because the jet stream is totally supposed to be doing this kind of shit.
It was our first major snowfall in 2 years, man. Global warming's over. The cold is back.
Let me go take a snowball into the Senate chambers and be like, look at this.
I gotta say, I was in both Vegas and in Austin, Texas, and I was not expecting it to be that cold. Clearly something's going on when there's a cold front across the entire United States like that.
Not Miami.
Well, didn't they get a cold front too? I mean, a cold front for them is obviously not the same as a cold front for anywhere else. But didn't it drop there to temperatures that are considered low for Florida?
Oh, I'm sure it did. Look, man, it was negative 17 degrees out 2 nights ago with a wind chill in the negative 40s. I actually lost a cow. I'm pissed.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you name your cows, or that's getting too close to them?
No, they've all got numbers, but I've known this cow for 8 years.
Oh, what's the number?
18. Put F in the chat, folks.
Rest in peace, 18. Oh man, is he a classic looking black and white cow, or what kind of cow was he?
She was a pure black Angus.
I did say what kind of cow was he, didn't I? Even though there's no such thing as a male cow, right?
A bull bovine is the male.
Right. All right. Oh,
His name is William, and he is fine.
What do you do? Was it the cow for milking, I assume?
No,
you knew the cow for 8 years. No.
I raise cow. It's a cow calf operation, so I raise cows that just give birth to calves, and then after about a year, I sell the calves.
Ah, okay. So what do you do? What do you do with the cow when they die? Do you use them, or do you just bury them, or how does this work? Or you burn it, like what's it called? Not burn
They
them.
go to a compost pile.
Okay. You don't just eat them,
You can't really do that.
Really?
They wouldn't taste good either. These cows are. You could maybe make hamburger meat out of them, but you would have to take them to like a meat processing facility, and they'd have to spread it out because they'd be very greasy is the problem.
Okay. I'm not saying this to be uncouth, but it seems like the most respectful thing you can do to a farm animal is use them when they die, because that's the purpose, right?
Well, they go to a compost pile, and then they become topsoil, and then you spread that in the cornfields, and it's the circle of life. The Lion King taught us this.
There you go.
Most of the cows that you eat.
What is it? What was it?
The gazelle eats the grass. We eat the grass, and when we die,
no, we eat the gazelle. No,
yes,
the gazelle eat the grass. We eat the gazelle. We die. We become the grass. The gazelle eats the grass. Yeah, it's the circle of life. Right.
Most of the cows that you would eat if you get like a burger or a steak or something, most of those get slaughtered around 30 months.
Damn, that's a long time to keep a cow and then just to kill them.
Well, I mean, you graze them out on a pasture before, well, a lot of them probably end up at the feedlot. Look, I don't know what happens to my calves. I know I treat them well. They're on green grass.
Can your calves be eaten? Are they fine for eating if you raise them that way, or are they a specific type of cow?
All of them probably will end up at a feedlot at some point and will be butchered into just food.
So it's possible that I've had a Kowalski cow for lunch or dinner one day.
Technically possible, statistically almost zero.
All right. I'm kind of hungry now. I could go for some Kowalski cow. I'm a meat eater. I'm sorry, but I'm a respectful meat eater. I respect the animals that we eat. I think that's the right way to do it.
Well, mine weren't abused. We don't even have to brand them where I'm at, so that's nice.
There you go. So how many cows do you got right now? I'm guessing at least 18 if there was a number 18, right?
With 18 gone, I've got 32 and a bull.
Wow. So what do you do? What's the bull's job? To impregnate the cows, I assume?
Yes.
Damn, one bull for 32 cows?
He's had a success rate of 100% the last 3 years.
Really? So... Whoa. How long you had him for?
5.
5 years?
Mm-hmm. I used to have a second one. It was his brother, but he got struck by lightning.
What? Are you serious? How How often does that happen?
1 in a million.
Wow. Do they mourn? Do they know when their sibling or family member dies, or they don't care less?
So obviously a mother cow will care
Okay.
if like its calf gets hurt or something, but traditionally most cows have a companion cow. Like in my herd right now, I know number 23 and number 13 are inseparable. They are
Okay.
friends. The bulls always like sticking together. But most cows have another cow that they kind of have a companionship with. And it's often when one of them dies or gets hurt, the other breast.
Aww. That's sad.
Yeah. I've cut a lot of red meat out of my diet recently.
I never knew that about cows. Nah, that's sad. I hope at least like when they slaughter them for food, they do the cows that are friends together so they don't have to live without each other.
Yeah. I have a feeling in about 100 years, people are going to look back on how we've done the whole industrial farming and think that we are absolute monsters. And
Yeah.
they will be correct.
I'll say that.
They
I
will be
think